playoffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna leave. I'ma get right. Get right. Down to the bottom and scratch it for all the...
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up everybody? It's Marcus Grant.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I gotta give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Our league. Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
But I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta, and this is Get Right Fantasy Network. And I'm here on this lovely Friday for part 2 of our start sit for week 8 with my boy Phil Ruskin from the Extra Point. Phil, happy Friday. Good to have you back, my guy. Coming back from the Niners game. How was it, man?
Well, you know how it went. So not my favorite evening or afternoon, but
right.
Like seats were dope. We had a great day. It was all chill, but I don't understand how Mahomes is 10 yards past the line of scrimmage, pump fakes, and you fall for it. And not only do you fall for it, you run out of freaking bounds. Like, dude. It's just there's just parts of that game where you just go, oh, what are we doing? So I did like that Brock tried to throw me the interception because he threw a couple of them right at the goal line that I was sitting about 15 feet above. So I was like, hey, Brock,
almost got a Brock ball.
Chuck it up here, bro. Chuck it up. I would have caught it.
Been
so
nice.
Anyway.
That would have been nice.
No, good to be back. Good to be back in 3 shows this week, man. Wednesday show, Thursday show, and then hanging a night.
I was literally, that's funny that you mentioned that because I was just thinking about that earlier and I was like, that's funny because I think Phil's the only one who's on just as much as I am on Get Right Fantasy. I was like, we're both on 3 shows. I think everybody else is either 1 or 2 that they do, standard every week. Of course, there's sometimes, some guests and things like that where we mix around or crash other shows. But for the most part, you're on there just as much as me getting that face out there. So I love it, man. Appreciate you.
Build the brand.
Absolutely, man. So make sure you guys are dropping that subscribe over to my boy Phil over here at the Extra Point. Help grow his channel, man. He's giving you great content. Dynasty, just genius when it comes to that. Loves talking trades, building rosters, how to look at contention. So make sure you guys go check him out. We do got folks down here in the chat as well, so make sure you drop your chats in there. We will do a live Q&A segment towards the end of the show. You can always drop us a super chat, and we'll get to it immediately. Otherwise, we're going to go game by game to finish off the rest of the game slate that the fellas earlier didn't get into, but by design, of course. And so we're going to finish it off here, giving you guys our must start and sit players here for week 8. And then, like I said, just getting your questions there. But why don't you tell them real quick what we got going on here on the channel? Just to kind of breeze through it here real quick because you can always hit that pause button. But go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, you boys know what it is. Monday, jump in. Make sure you're taking a good look at who the top waiver wire adds. On Tuesday, you can catch our boy Tycoon as he hosts the Fantasy Boardroom. On Wednesday, come hang out with me. It's your boy. We're going to be talking all things Dynasty, trade targets. Who should we be looking at? What are we looking at for playoffs? What do I do if I'm in a rebuild? Everything Dynasty at 6 p.m. on Wednesday with the Extra Point. And then immediately following that, we've got our roster management and trade targets talking about buys, sells, and holds in Redraft. And then, of course, on Thursday, we switch gears for the Extra Point, and I will be on at 4 p.m. as we go through the DFS and higher or lower presented by Underdog segment. Of course, the weekly picks, all things betting leading right up to Thursday Night Football.
Absolutely, man. And then again, we're here on Fridays doing Start Sit. We got our Sunday morning show with Classic Mike when we bring you those last minute active inactives for those folks that we, don't have maybe the answers to now. So make sure you check in with us again Sunday morning so we can give you that last minute advice. I actually made a guest appearance this last Sunday, got my butt up a little early and joined Classic, kind of crashed the show. So it was fun, man. It was good stuff. And so I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, man. So again, you guys make sure you guys throw us a super chat if you want us to get to your question right away. Otherwise, we will get to the live Q&A segment. We may bring some stuff up, in between time too. So feel free to comment, participate in the show. We love that as well. Jeezy said, what'd you miss? Nothing much, man. You know how it goes when we first start. Got to pay the bills, get the promos and all that good stuff out there. But we're about to get started here. Got Nino Pena in the house. I appreciate the super chat in the last show. But coming here with us, going for part 2. So got a full degenerate in the house, going back to back Get Right shows here. So we appreciate that. Raven show in the house, always supporting the show. We're getting some fire emojis over here, Phil. Look at that. Look at us, man. Look at us.
I mean, we had Nino and Ravens chopping it up with me on Wednesday and Thursday this week.
Man, look at that, man. Hey, we appreciate it, man. Your time is most valuable to us, man. So we appreciate it. Again, we'll give the time to you. I did 2.5 hours on Wednesday, man, for trade talk, roster management. It was crazy. I was solo, but it was good stuff. So we got Sam in the house saying hello. How's it going? Hang out with us, man. We're gonna get into it here right now. Let's start breaking down the start sits for these remaining 8 games. We're going to start with the Falcons at the Bucks. We have the Falcons coming in here at 4-3, playing the Bucks, who are also 4-3. Looks like we have the Falcons favored by 2.5 with the 45.5 point over under right now. Of course, the big news we all know, Godwin out for the season with that nasty dislocation break. So of course we're all wishing him the best. Destroyed some of my best ball teams too, but that's nothing compared to his work. I don't know if you guys saw our Twitter, man, but I posted that on Twitter with him riding off in the cart saying, time to get to work, or we got to put in that work, like, to the trainer. And he's like, we got to do it. So like that made me just like one of the biggest Godwin fans right there. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go check out our Twitter. If you haven't seen that video, if you've ever played sports, man, you know how it is in that moment. So again, wishing him all the best. And then we got Mike Evans. We saw that happen as well too. So he's out dealing with that hamstring, looking like a week 12 return. But when it comes to these guys, man, there's a lot of guys because of all these injuries and things like that. I really only have Bijan and Drake London as kind of like my must starts. Almost everyone else in this game I have question marks about. So let's start at the quarterback position here with Cousins, and Baker. Like, where do you have these guys? Are you feeling comfortable starting them given this, the situation? Where are we at with these quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can start Cousins. And look, I think there's 2 things to remember. Number one, the last time these two got together was an absolute shootout. 509 passing yards for Kirk Cousins, an overtime, basically walk-off. 13 targets for Drake London, 12 for 154 and 1. I don't know that happens again for 2 reasons. Number one, I don't know that the Bucks can keep up, but I still think you can start Cousins comfortably. I have him right at the edge there at QB 12 this week. I have no faith in Tua. I'm sorry. I just don't even want him to play. I know that he's going to, and I know some people really like the matchup against Arizona, but I do not have Tua in my top 12. But look, it's hard because what if it really is that one-sided? You know what I mean? So like in Superflex, you're starting Cousins, no problem. But if you have a single quarterback league, if you have a better option, I think you can go there. The problem is, Rasta, we talk about this all the time. Like, you probably drafted Cousins super late. So he is your quarterback, right? Like, you didn't take Josh Allen and then all of a sudden come back with Cousins. You probably just took Cousins. Maybe you did. But I have him at QB 12. I think that's probably really where I feel comfortable with him. The other thing to remember too, and this is, I did pick Atlanta to win this game in the weekly picks on my show yesterday, but the Bucs defense is really good. And it is possible, you have to remember in the range of outcomes, it is possible this is a defensive slugfest because this is the division right here. I think if Atlanta wins this game, they win the division. I think that should be how it goes because I don't think the Saints are very good, and certainly the Panthers are not very good. So I do think that this is, the chance to sweep the Bucs and potentially get a really, really firm grip on getting into the playoffs for the Falcons here.
Absolutely. I have Cousins right at 13, so we're pretty much kind of in that same, mindset. I do have Jared Goff and Mahomes ahead of him. Maybe you have Mahomes, behind him, but then I have Tua right behind him. And then I actually have Bo Nix against Carolina right before I have Baker in this one at 16. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here as far as the quarterbacks go. Let's switch over here to the running backs, mainly on the Buccaneers side with this 3-headed backfield. We have, of course, Bucky was dealing with that toe injury. He was kind of limited all week, but looks like he's going to give it a go this Sunday. You have, of course, White coming off that 30-point point PPR performance last week. 2 touchdowns, 6 catches, 71 yards. I think 10 for 40 on the ground. So what do you make of this backfield? I assume we're going to get a lot of questions about this.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a 3-headed monster. They only ran the ball, if my memory's right, I had this on my show sheet yesterday, 30 times last week. Of those 30 rushing attempts, 5 of them were Baker and 5 were Sean Tucker, which means it was 2, basically almost a 50-50 split. Here's what I will say about Rachaad White. I would start Rachaad White simply because of, in a full PPR league, because of the pass catching options, because that's where he makes his money, because there are no receivers, right? He was 6 for 6 targets, 6 targets last week, caught all 6 of them. Bucky was 3 for 3. So I'm not stoked on Bucky this week with the toe injury. He was basically trending yesterday as a DNP twice, and it was out. And then all of a sudden today it was like, oh, he practiced and he's active and he should play. I would start Rachaad White because of the pass catching upside. If you have to, if you have no other option, you can flex Bucky. If you can go elsewhere, I think this is a week to potentially go elsewhere. I don't want any part of Sean Tucker. And I'll be honest, unless you're in a DFS tournament or you're in a cash tournament, for betting purposes, I would stay away from the Bucs wide receivers.
Yeah. And that leads me, to that perfect part. Jalen McMillan. I want to see how this looks first before, I put him in there. Obviously, you might be in just a situation where it would just, with all the injuries, you had maybe, Rashee Rice and Godwin and, all these guys, and they're all out now, Nico Collins, right? You had these guys, you thought you were sitting pretty. So of course, if you're in a situation like that, it's not a bad, matchup against, Atlanta here. So, they're actually it's pretty good matchup. They're giving up the 8th most points to the wide receiver position. So if you're in a tough spot, again, it's not too bad of a dart play with at least it's a mid 40s, over under 45.5. And again, these teams have been votable in the air. So, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say AJ Terrell is going to cover somebody. You know what I mean? Like if Evans and Godwin were playing, we wouldn't fade those guys, but we would certainly say, cornerback matchups do matter, right? So at the end of the day, you're talking about a lesser wide receiver. McMillan to me is the best. If you have to play one of these guys, he's the best play. And I said it yesterday on my show, like if you're going to play in a DFS cash tournament, McMillan at $3,800 is a smash. You know what I mean? And he's going to get 30-40 yards and then 2x his salary. But from a managed league perspective, I don't trust it. I do think it's going to be, if possible, I think it's going to be a nice running day for Bucky if he plays, and Rachaad White, and then obviously through the air. I think they're going to run through the air with those 2 running backs. I actually think you will see a passing volume come down from Baker, and the rushing / passing to the running backs increase. Cade Otton is a sneaky start. The tight end position's funky. If you don't have a better option, I'm okay starting Cade Otton this week, because unless you've got a plug in, if you've got Pitts or Laporta, who, to be fair, may not also be a plug and play anymore, but obviously you're starting him. But my point being is I do think Cade Otton gets an uptick for pass catching volume this week as well.
There you go. Well said. And I didn't even have him on the show sheet. I'm glad you brought him up.
Yeah, that's why I brought him up, because I think we forgot.
No, I'm glad.
We got to show Cade some love. He's still out there running around.
He's actually a big play this week, right? Yeah, there are people who are literally considering
play this week.
Without those targets, someone Baker is comfortable with. So hopefully a lot of my best ball teams that I have on, hopefully that helps me out there. So we're sitting Ray McLeod. I'm right there with you. I have Rachaad White as my RB24, just to touch back on that. And who else did I have? I'm just interested where I ended up putting Bucky, because I think I dropped him down. Yeah, I have him all the way down at 42, just because with that toe, man, it could just flare up. And like you said, with the practice history, like it could just be like, oh, he might be available, but why put that on him if Rachaad and Sean Tucker can, have clearly shown they can carry the load. So agreed. So we'll see.
Agreed.
All right, good stuff. Anything else in this game? We're ready to move it on forward here.
No, I'm good. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, so next game on the slate here is going to be Saints coming in at 2-5 after starting 2-0, five games skid here at the Chargers, who are 3-3. We have the Chargers here favored by 7 with a 41-point over/under.
That's wild to me.
kind of crazy, right?
That's a wild line. I saw that line. I thought it was a typo until I checked it, and I was like, wow, it's. Oof.
But when you think about it, I mean, hey, Derek Carr is out, right? Rashid Shaheed out. You have Olave coming off a concussion. You have, Spencer Rattler just making his second start.
I know,
now?
but they're playing the Chargers. Like, they're not playing they're not playing the Lions. Like, they're not playing the Ravens.
Well,
but
interestingly enough, hey, I mean, I don't know if you see on my show notes here, but you have the Chargers. They're sneakily have a good defense. Maybe this isn't DVOA, but just in total fantasy points scored, they've given up the 25th most points allowed, which is good. Only 16.2 to the quarterback, only 18.8, which is 29th worst or best, however you look at it, points allowed to running backs, and then second best against wide receivers at only 24.7. And I think that has to do with obviously Harbaugh wanting to run the ball control, to limiting the amount of plays in their game, and so therefore defense is going to be fresh. They're out on and they're just limited opportunities. So with that said, the only guys I feel comfortable really starting in this game, even though the line's the way it is Kamara and Dobbins. But some guys here I have on the fence I want to talk about. You got Olave coming off that concussion. He's cleared. He's ready to go. Him and Spencer Rattler. What do you think about Olave? Where do you kind of have him this week?
I don't think you have a choice. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that you have Rashid Shaheed is out, and Taysom Hill, how healthy is he? I know he's cleared to play, but again, like, the guy didn't play for the last month, and rib injury is no joke. So I think for me, and they're favored by a touchdown, right? So I think for me, Olave is really the only guy that I'm super comfortable playing. I don't even say super comfortable, that I'm just comfortable playing. Ultimately, you're hoping that Rattler just doesn't look like he did last week, because then Olave is going to have a shitty day. Not because he's not a good player, just because it's just going to be a difficult run of things. I do think if you start Olave, if you can, I'd put him in your flex if you can afford it. I know a lot of teams can't do that. You're not fortunate enough to have 3 other wide receivers you can start over him. But to me, it's like Olave, Kamara, that's really it. Like, Bub Means isn't somebody I would start in a managed league. If you want to take a dart throw in a DFS tournament, go for it. Have fun. He can catch a big one. But on that side of the ball, like you said earlier, right? Like, Chargers want to slow it down. It's not a great day. The Chargers will find a new and hilarious way to lose this game. That will happen, right? Like, they will just, become, they'll like fumble Ruskin their own way into the back of the end zone somehow,
unless the Saints say, "Hold my beer."
But I think both these teams are trying to lose. No, I'm just kidding. They're going to try and lose the game, right? So.
Yeah, no, good stuff. I want to talk about McConkey though. I mean, he's looked, fairly well here in this offense. Again, kind of he kind of fits, playing in that slot. Just kind of taking what the defense gives them, so to speak. How do you feel just again with all these injuries to the wide receiver position right now? Guys like Ladd are being, bumped up. Where do you kind of, how do you feel about Ladd here? Maybe as like a flex, or
I would flex him.
Trust him as a wide receiver 3.
If you have no choice, sure, I would feel better if he was my flex spot. It's 86% snap share last week, was his largest of the season. Now that is due to some injuries, but he's finding pockets. He's doing exactly what we expected. He's finding little pockets in soft zone coverage. He's being that kind of outlet for Herbert. I think you can put him in the flex this week and feel good about it. I don't know that I think this game hits the over. I could see this game being 20-17. I really could, 20-14. You know what I mean? Something like that. If they cover, sure, 20-10. But I just don't know that there's a ton for the Saints to really keep up. I will say it's not something that you should do, but sneakily, very sneakily, Will Dissly, he is questionable, so I don't think he's going to play. But Will Dissly had 11 targets last week with 8 receptions. Hayden Hurst is practicing and should be back. Dissly is still listed as questionable. So, again, probably not something you should do, but if you're really, really struggling at tight end with these wide receiver injuries, Herbert's going to throw it to someone. So, there are more guys that I would play like in a tournament, right, in DFS, but 11 targets last week for Will Dissly. Like, that's somebody's got to soak up those targets. Could it be McConkey? Sure, right? But I do think that one of these tight ends is going to emerge. So, if you're really in a pinch, don't shy away just because the game script isn't good. Points, garbage points are points, right?
For sure. Last guy I want to talk about here, Taysom Hill. dealing with those ribs. Looks like he's active, gonna be back in the lineup here this week, just with the limited, weapons, obviously without Sheed. How do you feel about him? I mean, especially at the tight end, the way tight end's going.
I would say this personally. I don't have any Taysom Hill because I just don't trust him because I just can't handle it. I understand the volatility and that some people can live with the volatility. I think because of all the weapons, like if you're just looking for extreme ceiling, go for it. What does that say? Grand Slam? I don't even baseball.
Yeah,
This is football show. What are we doing? I don't even know who's playing.
It is World Series.
Oh, it's the World. I don't watch one pitch of one baseball game
That's
ever. I'm
hilarious.
just not a baseball guy at all.
Okay.
Couldn't tell you who they playing. The Dodgers are playing in the World Series.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't really watch it too much either. I just know they're in because I'm here in Southern California, so I see the flags and everything.
I mean, my neighbors got like 3 massive Dodgers flags outside. I just thought they just threw them all year. I forgot it was playoffs.
No idea what's going on. That's hilarious. Good stuff.
I don't know. It's like American
football,
flag. And then
we're here to talk
flag.
football right now.
Yeah.
It's week 8. We don't care about no World Series.
Taysom Hill, if you are looking for extreme ceiling and if you fade Bub Means and you just don't think he's going to have an impact on the game, Kamara's not been good lately. And Taysom Hill can line up in the backfield. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for extreme ceiling, why not? I wouldn't go there personally, but like you said, at the tight end position, the volatility.
Right. If you
just have to live with it. You just have to know if you play Taysom Hill, the ceiling is 27 points. The floor is 2, right? Yeah. Like 2.5. Like that's a large range of outcomes.
Especially just coming back. Yeah, there was a point there when he gets going, and you could tell he's been worked in the offense. But we got to just see what happens here.
Yeah, this week I don't think it's the week.
For sure. I mean, someone make the argument just, because it's Spencer Rattler, maybe they put Hill in and run some more kind of wild.
Yes, that's what I mean. Possible.
Kind of, take that down. So I had to throw it out there for the people. Yeah. All right. So other than that, we're pretty much sitting everyone else here in this game. Rattler, I assume you don't have Herbert in your top 12. If you barely have Cousins in there, I think Wilson's actually out as well too. Juwan Johnson, he might be a name. What do you think about Juwan Johnson, real quick?
Say that one more time.
Juwan Johnson at the tight end position, Saints.
I mean, I wanted to just look him up. That's what I was trying to do. Just look him up real quick. I just don't love this game environment. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at pace of play right now. Like where is it? Yeah, I think it's going to be a slow pace of play game. Like I'm not into Juwan Johnson this week.
He's been playing, 70-80% of the snaps, seen anywhere from 3 to 6 targets over the last 3 weeks, about
he's a touchdown. He's touchdown dependent. You know what I mean? Like, like if he doesn't get a touchdown, you're getting 3-4 points.
Yeah.
I think you can find 3-4 points somewhere else.
Oh, that's right. I have to, the one I'm looking him up on right now is tight end premium. So that's why it's pumped up a little bit. There.
Okay. I was like, yeah.
I remember that. I was like, actually, he's looking kind of good. Like, oh, no, that was tight end.
Yeah. It's TEP, sure. But like in your non-TEP leagues, like yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah,
so I guess it's Yankees, Dodgers, Yankees. I had to look it up. I guess the Yankees are good again. That's good. Good to hear. We might have lost some credit there with some people, but again, that's a football show. All right, so let's move on here. And again, make sure you guys are dropping stuff in the chat. We'll get to your questions during the live Q&A segment. If you do shoot us a super chat, we'll get to that as well too. But we will move on here to the next game. We have the Bills coming in favored by 3 to the Seahawks with an over-under of 46. So DK Metcalf, kind of the story here. We knew he wasn't going to practice Wednesday and Thursday. They came out right away. Tried to give it a go today. Looks like he couldn't quite go. They're saying he didn't go, but is listed as doubtful. But then they're also saying they still haven't ruled him out, and there's still a chance he can play. Again, dealing with that grade 1 MCL, which is typically 1 to 3 weeks, with something like that. So, maybe he'll test it out game time. I mean, the dude is kind of a freak athlete, of one of those type of guys. But, that's what we're still dealing with. So let's just, for the sake of argument, say he is out. What do you think about Lockett and JSN and Gino? Let's just talk about the passing game there for the Seahawks first.
I mean, I think from this perspective, I think this is another, could see this game going one of 2 ways. I think it could be low volume, low scoring, kind of run the ball both sides, lean on the running games, because neither one's receiving core is great right now. Or it could be big time points because Seattle sneakily can score. I think it's the former. I think it's the first one. So I don't have Geno in my top 12 this week. I'm not starting him unless it's a super flex league. Obviously, you're starting Josh Allen, but Geno, I think, has only thrown 2 touchdown passes once in a game this season. He's thrown 1 in every other game. So it's just not enough volume there for me to really feel comfortable like I'm going to be able to get a ceiling performance, regardless of whether they win or they're chasing the game. I think JSN becomes more interesting. Tyler Lockett becomes more interesting. The real winner to me is KW3 if Metcalf misses because of the way that they use him, and obviously you're starting him anyway. But I think if you're in a decision where, like, I'll put this to you, who would you rather have? Jerry Jeudy as the wide receiver 1 in your flex, or Tyler Lockett in your flex? Because I think that's what people are not, maybe not that specific example, but I think that caliber of player is what people are deciding on in their flex this week. I'd rather have Tyler Lockett over, who did I just say? Jerry Jeudy. That's how little I care about Jerry Jeudy, but like it's how like irrelevant he is in my brain. But but that's my point, is when you're looking at somebody who's getting opportunity because somebody else is injured, right? I see the CH. I'd rather have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just saw that
Henry.
too,
I don't know if I'd go quite. I don't know if I want to play 2 tight ends, but I get what he's saying.
Last week, I mean, come
yeah,
on.
no, I mean, Hunter Henry, Drake May, baby, Drake May slinging it. Let's go,
There
Drake.
it is, yeah.
But yeah, I think you can. I think you can play Tyler Lockett or JSN in your flex. I think you can. So Charbonnet becomes interesting.
Okay. And I just want to say, let's compare him. To just the other wide receivers in this game. Obviously, we're starting Cooper on the other side of the ball. But how would you rank these 4 just in this game between Lockett, JSN, Keon Coleman, and Shakir, who still had good games last week? Granted, Cooper only played, I think, 18 snaps total, but put up like an entire game's worth of stats in those 18 snaps. But with him, obviously, I'm sure he's going to get worked in more here this week. How do you rank these 4? What order?
I would have it
because I kind of feel they're all about kind of in that same type.
Yeah,
of
they're like right on top of each other, right? To me, JSN is going to be my highest ranked player in this situation, just because I think he has the most he has the most upside. I think I would have the 2 Seattle guys, and then Shakir, and then Coleman.
Okay.
Just because Cooper's there, because Kincaid's there, because James Cook's there, because Josh Allen and Ray Davis are the, you know what I mean? Like Ray Davis fucking smashed it 2 weeks ago, right? Like when James Cook was out. So it's just not, like, we've talked about it a ton in the Dynasty world. Like Keon Coleman's just not giving you enough right now to justify like starting him. Like I just dropped him in a redraft league 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was like, that's it. I mean, he had the touchdown, but it was like, you know, he had 37 yards and a touchdown, so it wasn't much before the touchdown. Yeah, I would play JSN and Lockett over the 2 Buffalo guys.
That's funny. That's the exact order that I have it. I have JSN at 26. I have Lockett at 29. I have Shakir at 30, right back, literally back to back with Lockett. And then I have Coleman at 35. So again, well,
if you're new to the show, Ruskin and I generally think alike. If you're not new to the show, that's no surprise to hear that we have same order there. Yeah.
That's funny. Good stuff. All right. And D-Wave, we see your question here. Of course, we're going to get to it during the live Q&A segment. You can always drop a super chat. We'll get to it right away. Otherwise, a couple more people here in this game I do want to talk about. You mentioned him there. I had Zach Charbonnet as a sit, but I heard you say things are interesting for Charbonnet. So let's expand on that a little bit. The injuries, you know, where are we at with Charbonnet?
I mean, I think if it's like a desperation flex only kind of a play, if DK's out, that's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not going
to hero emergency RB2. Like, that's how I think about it, right? Because like Charbonnet are like, those are RB2s to me in my builds, right? And I kind of build the same. So I don't have the luxury to flex to Charbonnet in my flex. Like, if I'm thinking of someone like Charbonnet, he's probably most likely an RB2.
Yeah, if you can afford to sit him, I would, because I do think the uptick goes to KW3. I think Kenneth Walker's going to have a good day. I think James Cook and Ray Davis could have good days. You know what I mean? Like like Seattle's a really interesting defense. Like they're not great against the run.
Yeah, they're 10th against 10th most points allowed to the run, 25.
So that's what I mean. Like it could be a good day for if assuming what Cook's health is, but Cook, Davis is a little riskier if Cook's actually healthy. Obviously, I mean, he looked great, but he had the backfield to himself. Yeah. But I think the running backs should have good days in this game, and the receivers, you're just hoping that they get the touchdown.
Yeah. Oh, and I think I might have said that wrong. Buffalo's actually giving up the fourth most points allowed to the wide receiver position. So I'd love to get that stat for passing running backs too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was for running backs.
Running back position.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. So that obviously that includes your pass catching running backs, but I'd love to separate that out. I need to get that stat too. Anyway, let's see, Eric. We see your question in here too. We'll get to it during the live Q&A, but we'll continue to break down this game here. You talked about Ty Johnson. We're staying away from Jake Bobo, who would come in if DK sits. Anyone else here? You kind of mentioned Ray Davis, James Cook. What about like Fant, who's coming off a couple good games here as well too?
Yeah, I mean it's like if you've got Noah Fant or you've got Lucas Krull. You know what I mean? Like if that's what you're staring down.
What about Otten?
Otten.
Conklin or Fant?
Otten. I'm sorry. That's where my brain went. Fant
He's like, I'm still gonna start Otten.
I'm still gonna start. Yeah, still gonna start Otten over everybody this week.
Yeah, good one. All right, good stuff.
Fant over Conklin.
Fant over Conklin. Okay, yeah. Good stuff. All right. So I think that pretty much wraps it up there. Then, Kincaid. Where do you have Kincaid? Actually, give me 10 seconds on Kincaid.
Where do I have him? On the bench right now because he needs.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Kidding. You have to play him. I think what Kincaid is right now is he's touchdown dependent. He's just not seeing the volume that we thought he would see. I mean, I thought there'd be an uptick. I have him in my top 12 because he could be the worst top 12 guy and still be in the top 12 because everyone else sucks.
Otten or Kincaid?
I would play Cade Otten this week.
I have Otten at 10 and Kincaid at 12.
There's no wide receivers in Tampa Bay, man. Like,
yeah, and again, the addition of Cooper, it's like, hey, I have to drop him down a little bit compared to what we thought before. So,
I mean,
good stuff. All right, so we'll move on here. Let's keep it moving. Let's talk about the next game here on the slate, which is
I don't want to.
I was going to say we'll get through this one pretty quick. Yeah, let's not spend too much time. But we got Panthers coming in 1-6 at the Broncos, who are coming in 4-3. You have basically nobody playing in this game on the Panthers side of the ball, which I don't know as much difference had they been active in the first place. Andy Dalton got in a car wreck. Not something to laugh about. Glad he and his family and everyone involved hopefully are okay. Didn't really get a report on the other family, but at least Dalton's okay. You hope they're okay as well. With that said, he's out. Deontay Johnson was out, maybe for more personal. I don't know how injured he really is, but there's some other things going on there.
This is a trade me, and this is a Devontae Adams hamstring trade me.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So we got some of that going on. They're still holding out. Brooks here as well too, coming back from that ACL. I think they'll have 7 more days to decide if he's active or not. So that's going to be telling. We got Adam Thielen, who I mentioned on Wednesday when I saw it. That I completely forgot he was on the team. Like I literally was like, oh, that's right, he's still playing. He was just out, on IR, so he was just out of sight, out of mind.
He's a good cheerleader.
Yeah, exactly. So he's still out though, so nothing to worry about there, so to speak. The only person I have as a must start in this game is Javonte Williams. I actually have him fairly high, and if you guys know if I'm saying anything good about Javonte Williams, then that should tell you something. I think I have him almost like borderline RB1 this week. I want to get to my rankings here in a second. But with that said, let's start actually with the guy who's been an RB1 here this week, Chuba Hubbard, but going up against this Broncos defense who's just been nasty here lately. If there is a weak spot, it is to the running back position. They're basically the best against quarterbacks, wide receivers, but they are a little bit somewhat vulnerable at the 21st most points allowed to the running back position. But how do you feel about Chuba here this week against Denver, being almost the only playmaker on the team?
I want to sit him, and the reason being is there's no wide receivers to threaten. Right. So who's Pat Surtain covering? You know what I mean? Like they can just stack the box. Like there's really nothing. And it's Bryce Young. He can't see over his own offensive line. So it's like he doesn't know what's going on. So at the end of the day, like Chuba, the reason to play Chuba is pure volume. But what's that volume going to amount to?
Yeah, 24 carries for 37 yards.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have him in my top 24. He's not a guy that I really want to start. But again, like we say this, and it's like we talk about guys every single week. but not every team, not everybody that listens to the show is fortunate enough to have all of their players ranked in our top 24/top 26 for the running back and wide receiver position. That's just not the reality of fantasy with injuries, and there are no buys this week, but like bye weeks and just shit that happens. So I would sit Chuba if you can. That's what I would do. Like if you have a better option, if you have a wide receiver in your flex, if you're fortunate enough to have two running backs that you feel comfortable with, if you've got Rashad White and David Montgomery, you know what I mean? Like that's what I would do, and I would sit Chuba if you went super wide receiver heavy and you just James Conner, you decided to go get a kind of mid round 4th, 5th, 6th round running back. That's what I would do. I'd sit Chuba and play 2 guys like that. Get a wide receiver in my flex.
There you go.
Because you're right, Dan. Games on the road. Bryce Young hasn't played in a month. They have no wide receivers. It just like everything says like Bo Nix could be sitting down drinking. Like Jarrett Stidham could play the 4th quarter of this game. like serious. Like it's in the range of outcomes.
Could be. Are you playing Nick Chubb over Chuba Hubbard?
I'm not. I'm fading Nick Chubb this week. I actually, if you listen to my Thursday show where I do all of my lines, props, higher or lower, I actually have an under on his 46.5. So it is touchdown dependent for Nick Chubb this week. And I think Jameis is going to sling it, man. I also think they're going to get, first of all, the Ravens are the number 1 run defense in the league. So don't play Nick Chubb. Second of all, I think they're going to get fucking killed. Because the Ravens are going to just put the hammer down on like Pittsburgh's winning games right now. The Ravens are going to have to go beat Pittsburgh to win this division. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think they're just going to go in and Harbaugh's just going to be like, look, let's take care of the Browns. Let's get out of here. Let's just get on let's get on to the next week 9,
That's funny. Yeah. So I have Chuba Hubbard out all the way down and at RB 30. I have actually Nick Chubb at 32, so I have him behind him as well, even with everything said.
There you go.
But what about Dowdle or Hubbard against our Niners?
I want nothing to do with the Cowboys. Nothing at all. I mean, it's just I think they're
Mostert.
Achan's, I think, healthy, isn't he? He looks healthy.
Yeah.
I'm not playing Mostert either.
Okay.
Dowdle,
so you have Hubbard ahead of both of those guys?
Yeah, just because it's volume. You know what I mean? Like you at least know what you have. So not by much. I think I would have Hubbard and Dowdle right back to back. I would play Zach Moss over both of them. And like that actually isn't it. That game is a better game environment. I actually think, and I talked about this on my show yesterday, like the Eagles defense is kind of middle of the road. The Bengals is kind of middle of the road, but they both have really good offenses. So it's just a question of like which form of the Bengals and Eagles actually show up. I think there's points in that game. I know we all want there to be because of the pieces that we all have, right? The Jamar Chases and AJ Browns of the world, but like, neither of those teams are really that good. So I think they both go for it and try to win it.
Right. Yeah, no, that could work. That could work. All right, good stuff. So we probably spent more time on that game that we needed to, but I think, again, a lot of people have been riding Chuba's coattails. So I think that was a good discussion to have out there. Not playing any wide receivers, basically, or sitting all other Panthers for the most part here as well, too.
Sit them all. It's the opposite of what the Lions are. Sit them all.
Sit them all. All right. So that'll wrap up the first 4 games there. Why don't we take a quick break here? Why don't you tell the folks what we got going on over from our boys at Underdog Fantasy?
Yeah, so Underdog is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. We love their best ball draft tournaments. Obviously, you can play all season long. If you're new to best ball, those are leagues where you do not have to draft. You draft your team and that's it. There is no season-long commitment. There are no waivers, no trades, no weekly lineup setting. You can draft hundreds of teams if you'd like, because it doesn't matter. You can replace your redraft or your dynasty managed teams. At the end of the day, you and I are in way too many of those. But
yes.
We love what they've got going on. And then additionally, of course, we know that they have their season-long best ball tournaments, but they also have their pick'em contest where you can pick higher or lower on things like player stats and total yards. So use that promo GETRIGHT, GETRIGHT promo code, and you will not only receive a 50% deposit match, but you can go all the way up to $1,000 in bonus cash, not like the $100 you and I used to get. You heard it right, $1,000 in bonus cash. And then as you can see, they always have specials. So I think this week is a Dak Prescott special for your pick'em entry. You can set obviously your lineups from there. Visit underdogfantasy.com, download the fastest growing fantasy app from your app store today. Make that first deposit, get into those best baller pick'em contests, and claim your $1,000 in bonus cash.
Let's do it like a true pro, man. Look at that. I like that. Look at you. Man, I need to hire you.
Rolling.
Let's do it, man.
Come on, Raiders, beat the Chiefs rolling.
Hey, they did last year, so let's start there, man. Next game here is going to be Chiefs at Raiders, man. We got the Chiefs coming in at 6-0 somehow still here. Raiders here at 2-5, obviously coming off the Adams trade, losing their quarterback, going back to Minshew now. Obviously, Aiden O'Connell out. Looks like Myers is going to play. Looks like, for me, really the only two people I'm interested in, or only one person on the Raiders side is Brock Bowers. Let's just start there. Any other Raiders that you're willing to start against basically the number one defense in football right now?
Nope.
Okay, so that'll wrap that up. So let's talk about the Chiefs, though. Interesting on the other side. So Mahomes, he's kind of been the talk here. Obviously, the big trade getting D-Hop. So we're going to see that connection here for the first time. He will be active. So let's talk about this passing game. Looks like it's going to be Hopkins, Kelsey, Worthy, and I think Justin Watson. They'll probably stick out there as the other wide receiver. Probably is who's going to play most in 2 wide sets over Worthy. But what do you kind of think of this Chiefs passing game as a whole here against the basically get right spot for anybody against the Raiders, plus a little get back from last year?
The Chiefs are such an anomaly. Like, they're the worst undefeated team in the league. They're the only undefeated team in the league, but they're the worst undefeated team in the league. I just don't understand how they're winning games with no wide receivers. Like, Xavier Worthy had the monster week 1. I think he scored 1 other touchdown this season in week 3. I think it was. Oh, was it week 2? Okay, it was either week 2 or it was early, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to start Hop. I can't start Nuke, not this week. I need to see it for a week. And ultimately, like, the guy just got off a plane 2 days ago. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. He's a good. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Like, D-Hop's a great player. Don't get me wrong. And, like, I love his quote. Like, I haven't played meaningful football in the last 3 years. Ooh. Okay, well, let's take a little ownership, because I watched you play with Kyler Murray, and I think you were pretty good there. So, yeah, it's hard for me with D-Hop this week to really feel like it's good. I will say this. I think this is another game where I think the running backs are going to. Kareem Hunt is in a smash spot this week.
Oh yeah, he's a
smash.
Yeah,
his betting lines are way too low. His touchdown, he's an anytime touchdown scorer for me. There's Gardner Minshew's under center. I have zero faith the Raiders can keep up. So I don't know that they're going to need to throw the ball a ton. I think they can salt it away. I think you're going to see Carson Steele in this game. I think you're going to see, who is it that we were just talking about at the wide receiver position? Justin Watson. Like, he
maybe
could get on the field.
Some Noah Gray action.
Yeah, Noah Gray. Like, Travis Kelce's kind of got 1 foot out the door, right? So I'm not starting Travis Kelce. I know that's wild to say because you drafted him and you have to start him because you don't have. But, like, I saw Travis Kelce get dropped in a redraft league last week. Someone legitimately dropped. They picked up Tucker Kraft.
Wow.
Dropped Kelce and picked up Kraft, which, by the way, brilliant. Makes because sense. Great timing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to. I don't want to start the Chiefs pass catchers because they're not returning anything. What you're doing is you are starting a name only.
And really Mahomes that you're starting, right?
Mahomes has 7 passing touchdowns and 8 picks.
Yeah, it's just the fact that it's in him. Like, he can just go for 5 touchdowns one game, and one of these receivers can have 2 of them. Like,
could be, but is it this week against a team that really can't keep? Like, if you told me that he wants to do that against the Broncos or the Chargers, like, sure, maybe in the division, but it's hard for me.
He has him and Max Crosby go at it. He usually gets him going a little bit too. So it could be. We all watch quarterback. We saw that little.
The problem with Kelce.
What did he say? Didn't he say something to him? He's like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that." Like, woke him up or something. Remember when he kind of hit him late or whatever, and they got into it.
Oh yeah. They got into it. Yeah.
So that could happen. They need something.
It could, but
like, he needs to go Jordan on these fools. Like, we need Patrick Mahomes to go Jordan and just find a reason to just want to dump on people.
I mean, now that I say sit Kelce, it'll happen. It'll be one of those Kelce, like 97 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 targets. They'll show Taylor 85 times. You know what I mean? Like, it'll just be chaos.
I'm like, I'll take the field of the tight end room over Kelsey scoring. I think it'll be Gray, Wiley, or Fortson.
I will do the same.
I think would have a touchdown over Kelsey. It seems like at this point, he's scored literally 0 all year. So yeah,
I've seen Travis Kelce twice in the last 2 years. I saw him last week, obviously at the Niners game, and then I saw him last year for opening night. I went to Kansas City with my buddies to go to that Lions Chiefs game.
Oh man!
And guess who didn't play?
Oh, that's right.
He wasn't there. He was just sitting there in his little tracksuit, hanging out. I was like,
yeah, it took him 1 overall in Scott Fishbowl last year. Yeah, so of course.
Whoops. Yeah,
forgot. Yeah, sorry guys. Reaper, I should have told you guys. First draft pick of the 2023 season was Travis Kelce because that draft happens in July. So yeah. So there you go. All right. Anyway, so let's move on here. So we talked about that again. We said Hunt. Yeah, we're saying all the other Raiders. So that pretty much wraps that up. So again, we see your guys' questions here in the chat. We will get to them. We will have a live Q&A segment. If you want us to throw us a super chat, we will go ahead and get to it right away. We'll stop and get to it. Otherwise, just keep it there and we'll get in order and get those answered here before we leave. So let's move on here to the next show here on the bracket, which is, did I not even put up the Chiefs Raiders banner there?
Yeah, we've already moved on.
That's all right. It didn't deserve a banner.
I think it's like a 10 point. I think it opened at 10.5.
I think it may or may not have mattered in the first place.
No.
I may or may not have done that intentionally to not have a Raiders banner. Anyway, all right. So let's get going here. Let's talk Bears at Commanders. You got the Bears coming in at 4-2 against the Commanders, who are 5-2. We have Chicago being favored by 3 with a 43.5 point over under. Chicago favored by 3, you say, on the road? Because there's most likely no Jaden Daniels. JD 5. I mean, what do you think about this game here?
I think he's not going to play. I don't really buy the whole, he's going to possibly practice today. What were we talking about pre-show? Like he was inside in the tunnel or in the weight room or whatever the hell he was doing. Like at the end of it all, I think the only reason he plays is because the NFL calls up and goes, we need the ratings to have the number 1 and number 2 quarterbacks on the field at the same time, right? But no, I just don't see a world where he's going to play, and if he is, he's not going to be super impactful. He hasn't practiced all week. Like I get it. He's an incredible athlete.
Had secret practice today, as being said. Yeah,
we'll see. I do think Caleb's interesting this week. I think you can, and I think you should start him. He looked really. He's been looking better every week. I think it's one of those games. I'm just trying to look up on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Washington.
They're not
13.
Yeah, they're not
to the
wide receiver.
Position.
Yeah, and the quarterback was like they're not great against receivers. They're not great against against quarterbacks. Caleb can give you a little bit of rushing, so I think the Bears win this game, which obviously should be in Caleb's favor. But I think you can start Caleb.
I actually have Caleb as my QB6 this week.
Yeah.
I had him in front of Sam Darnold, which looks good now, maybe. I have him
not after the first quarter. Yeah. The first quarter last I was like, Sam is cooking. Let's go. And then I was like, wheels fell off. Here we go.
Fell off a little bit there. But yeah, I have him in front of Stroud, Murray, Brock, Pat Mahomes, Goff, Cousins. To round out my 13. So I was just like, hey, with like you said, coming off the bye, how he's been playing, DeAndre Swift has been playing well. So it's looks good. Daniel's cracked ribs, Scott says. They said their x-rays were negative, so maybe it's just more a pain tolerance thing, but you never know. He was once in pretty bad. And again, time will tell. If he comes back next week, obviously, and we know he's good, but
follow the money.
Hell, yeah. It's
follow the NFL's golden rule. Follow the money. Are they really going to put their multi-million-dollar first round, second overall pick in harm's way if they don't have to?
$50 million.
Yeah, I mean, he's their franchise. Like, and no offense to Marcus Mariota, but like, they don't really care if Marcus Mariota goes out there and just takes a beating. They just don't. That's what they're paying him to do.
Exactly. So let's talk about Williams's weapons. Then I mentioned DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore. We have them as must starts. I assume you agree there. But what do you think about Keenan Allen and Odunze?
I'm sitting Rome. It hurts me to say that. He just hasn't shown me anything. I mean, you got Keenan scoring 2 touchdowns last week, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago. They're on the bye last week.
Yeah.
You got Cole Kmet scoring 2 touchdowns. Like you said earlier, DeAndre Swift has been better. I think you can put Keenan Allen in your wide receiver 3. You can put him in your flex if you're a 2 wide receiver league. Hope he gets 1 touchdown. Hope he gets 7 targets. It's possible. Spoiler alert, Rome was brought up on the Dynasty show 2 weeks ago with me and Kendall, and he's coming up again next week because you're not trading him away on your Dynasty team, but he's a buy low candidate right now in Dynasty.
Yeah. And we know these rookies, man, they usually take off second half of the year. So it's taking MHJ, let alone in Dynasty redraft. I mean, I'm still excited to buy MHJ if I can get him low.
100%.
And same thing with Odunze, you can. But again, no surprise here. I have Allen ahead of Odunze as well. I have Allen as like a low end or like a mid wide receiver 3, like you said, just because he is capable of those 2 touchdowns. And just with this matchup against Washington, he could just eat. We know Allen is pretty much a tactician, and he's coming off a bye week. So if you're going to start him anytime, this would be, this would be the week to get him in as a wide receiver 3 or a flex. And I have Odunze all the way down at 41.
I mean, look at this is half PPR. This is a half PPR I just pulled, so apologies, it's not full, but 1.6 points, 4.3, 20. 1.5, 6.55. You can't play Rome.
Yeah.
You just can't. Yeah. It sucks, man. It just sucks.
Yeah. Actually, now that you say that, I got to put him behind Tolbert and Douglas as well, too. But I'll still start him ahead of Worthy. What do you think about Odunze or Worthy? Okay, so it's close. The fact that you couldn't quickly answer I feel like back to back.
I would actually play. I would play Worthy just because of the the gadgetry. Like they could design an end around, one of those funky fake plays that not fake plays, but one of those crazy plays that they draw.
Look at Odunze and Worthy. I bet you it's the same. Like 1, 2, 30.
Maybe they'll all dance around in a circle with Worthy in the middle because you can't see him, and then they'll like be like, up, turbo, set, go, and then they'll just like give it to him and he'll score. So
choose Louise.
They do some weird stuff, man.
Maybe hot take, but I actually have Pittman behind Odunze and Worthy, but ahead of McMillan. That's why I have 44, 45.
Michael Pittman?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a hot take.
And then Ridley behind all them.
Who?
Ridley.
Who? Calvin? The ghost of Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, maybe that's too high then. All right. So who else have we got in this game? Cole Kmet, you mentioned him. Did he crack your top 12 this week?
No. I mean, it's just so hard. Like I think he's right on the edge for me. But again, there's so many passing options. Like that 2 touchdown game. First of all, they played the fucking Jaguars. Let's call a spade a spade. He's so touchdown dependent. Like it's just not going to give you enough. So again, if you have nothing else, I think he's right on the border of that top 12 for me. But
Kmet or Kincaid?
Kincaid.
All right, I have Kincaid 12, Kmet 13.
Kmet
or Andrews?
Andrews. He scored 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, man.
You don't think
his target volume has not increased, so that's the bad part. Is he's getting the same amount of targets and the same snaps.
They just happen to be touchdowns. So if those aren't touchdowns,
he's getting the same 2.5 points. He's 3.5 points.
He didn't even lead the tight ends in red zone targets. That was still Isaiah Likely last game. Just happened to too. Is that where I got that stat? Oh, okay. I was like, I thought you were going to say that's what you said on Wednesday or something. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know where I hear these things.
Well, you listen to my show. There's all kinds of stats coming out. But I said trade Mark Andrews 3 weeks ago, and everyone was like, "You can't trade Mark Andrews." Yeah, you can. So
there you go. Fairmouth or Andrews?
I hate that question. Probably Andrews.
And Noah Fant or Andrews?
Let's go Noah Fant, baby. Let's go with Noah Fant this week. No DK. Noah Fant could be that sneaky. When Noah Fant scores a touchdown, when we Monday morning quarterback this and Noah Fant has a touchdown and 47 yards, we're gonna be like, how do we not see that coming? And he finishes his tight end 6 on the week, right?
Yeah. And that's all it takes, really, too.
That's all it takes to finish his tight end 6, 47 yards and a tutty, right?
For sure. All right. So good stuff there. I mean, B-Rob, we're starting B-Rob, right? He's an RB1 right now for the most part. What do you think about Terry McLaurin and Austin Eckler on the other side of the ball here?
No on Eckler for me. I mean, I understand the appeal with, Mariota under center and, maybe they do lean a little heavier on the run game. So I do understand the appeal, but I just think that makes B-Rob stronger. I think you have to start Terry McLaurin. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have, like, he's a flex play. Like, he's in the top 36. Like, again, sometimes, like we talk about, like, this guy's got more volume, like, I should start him, whoever the hell the wide receiver one's going to end up being this week for the Panthers because there's nobody there, right? Whoever the wide receiver one will be for the Bucks. But, like, you drafted Terry McLaurin as one of your top guys. You can't sit him. Like, you just have to live with the volatility of, like, this is what it is. But again, he's still a good player. Mariota's capable. Mariota's not incompetent. Like, he's a good quarterback. It's just he's not.
Well, we know he runs, and he's not going to dump to Eckler either.
Yeah. So, like,
and will he take that deep shot to Terry? Is where you gotta, that's what you gotta wonder about. That's what scares me. And even if he does, going up against the Chicago secondary,
that's the scary part.
I'm not feeling it. So I have him as a sit this week.
You have missed. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. That's what I mean. Like, that's why I say, like,
respect for the Chicago D right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
They're mine. Yeah.
I just think if you're in Washington's offensive meetings this week and you're going, how do we win this game? Terry's the focal point of the passing attack.
Yeah. So I have Terry down at wide receiver 34. I do have him ahead of, like, Keon Coleman, Judy, McConkey, Kirk, and Wandale. But I will start Bateman and Watson, Keenan Allen, Shakir ahead of Terry McLaurin this week.
You have him at 34 in a sit?
Like in two.
So he's not even a flex. Yeah, but so he's not even a
that's still kind of a flex. There's probably a lot of running backs, though. Like, if I did my full rankings with running backs and wide receivers in there, there's several other wide receivers I would start over him.
Would you?
Or I'm sorry, I think there's other running backs there that I would start over him. Actually, I think I can do that. Hold
Charbonnet or Terry McLaurin?
With no DK, I might go Sharps. Also because, he's still dealing with that sickness. If they get out ahead, then, like you said, we were kind of talking about earlier, he could have a sneaky good game.
Zach Moss or Terry McLaurin?
I think I would go Moss.
Ray Davis?
Might draw the line there.
Yeah, I think I would too. Okay. All right. Yeah. Good exercise.
Yeah, good stuff. Oh, you turned around on me. I don't like that.
It doesn't feel very good.
It doesn't feel good. Yeah, it's tough.
All right, let's get that little like
put me on the spot. Ooh, that's different. All right, I'm hosting here, Phil. Can't do that to me. No, that was good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so let's talk. I don't want to say game of the week, but this could have been a lot better. But these teams are kind of terrible right now. But let's see what's going on. We got Cowboys coming in 3-3 off their bye against our Niners at home. All banged up, 3-4 right now. We're still favored by 4 in this game. 47 point over under. It still seems a little high, given all the weapons we're missing. Obviously, Debo's dealing with his wrist and illness. We kind of talked about it earlier. Pretty much on the Dallas side of the ball, on the offensive side, they're pretty much healthy, of course, besides Cooks, who's been on IR. Let's just start there because, we'll probably talk Niners for a second. Lamb, we're starting. Ferguson, we're starting. I don't think there's any question there. Dak, Dowdle, Tolbert. What do you think about these three guys?
I don't know how you can trust Dak. I don't. Like, at the end of the day, like, it's again, it's name value. I don't have him in the top 12. I don't think that they've been good. Like, I don't want to go there. I think would you start Tua? I'm not putting you on the spot again, but, like, this is a serious question. Would you start Tua or Dak?
I have Tua ahead of Dak.
Yeah. So there's your
Dak
answer.
At 19, I have Tua at 14.
So there's your answer.
I even have.
You have a guy that has
right now.
You have a guy that hasn't played football since what, week 1, week 2, coming off of catastrophic concussion.
I might change that. Actually, I'm moving Anthony Richard down.
All right. Would you start Baker with no wide? Okay, here's the real line in the sand. Would you start Baker with no wide receivers or Dak Prescott?
Because he still has Rashad White and threw 2 touchdowns to him last game, I still think he could put up a pretty decent game. Pretty sure I have Dak ahead. I just had to refresh. Baker 16 and Dak 18, so they're like right there. I have Geno ahead of Dak.
Yeah, there's the answer. I would sit Dak. I would sit Dowdle. I know the Niners defense is banged up. I know it's a mess, but the Cowboys are like, Cowboys are dysfunctional, and like the coach in me, for those that don't know, I was a college coach for a lot of years. The coach in me says when your owner is out there running his mouth and he's publicly berating your head coach, and your wide receiver is fighting with your quarterback, and your defense is Micah Parsons was ruled out, like that's just not good vibes for your football team going forward, especially on the road against the Niners. Like I don't want to go there. I don't have Tolbert in the top 36. Like it just, to me, like pretty much I'm fading all the Cowboys except the chalk. Give me Ferg. I love Ferg. Give me CD.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like that's all I want. That's it. Yeah, that's where Dak should throw it. That's it.
Yeah, Tolbert's a little interesting. I kind of have him on that fringe. I have him at 41. I have him ahead of like Douglas and Odunze Worthy, kind of that group we were just talking about. So I have him a little bit ahead of them. But I'll even give Cortland Sutton a chance against Carolina and Wandale against Pittsburgh ahead of Tolbert.
I'm fine with both of those names. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's talk Niners here for a second. Obviously, I just as a fan, I've had pneumonia. If he had pneumonia-like symptoms, if he really had pneumonia or water in the lungs, I don't know exactly. They're saying it was like a dry drowning or something that he could have had, or I don't know what was going on. But either way, I don't know why you would even put yourself through an exertion of an NFL football game if you're even dealing with something like that for your lungs, because like you don't breathe, you don't live. Like that's like nothing to like play with. That's not like
is that how that works?
I mean, it's just pretty simple, like math. You know what I'm saying? Like, and with someone with asthma, like that's the biggest thing. My mom always told me, like, you don't breathe, you don't live. Like, you could try to suck it up through an ankle or a knee, or you're hurting or in pain or you're injured. That's different, you know. But when it comes to like your organs, like you can't tough that out. Like that's a function of your body. So I would just think the doctors would say we just need to hold him out. So personally, I'm not expecting him to play, but everything's looking like he'll probably at least suit up to be maybe decoy Sanders, or maybe he pulls a situation like he did last week where he tried to play and just gave it a go, 5 snaps, and then was basically done. So you never know. Yeah, see Robert saying, yeah, breathing is just science. Yeah, it's not mind over matter at this point. So that's just what worries me. So as just a fan, someone who just kind of maybe understands what he might be going through, just sit him for a week. But you know, obviously that's the competitor. These guys are these top 1%. You know, these guys want to play if they can. But let's just say for the sake of argument, he doesn't play, right? They do decide to sit him. What do you think about Pearsall, Conley? You know, we could see some Ronnie Bell,
Jacob Cowing.
Yes, Cowing, who actually I think was the leader once Ayuk and Debo left last week. Yep. So, you know, you saw him kind of up and close and personal in real life last week. So I'll turn it over to you. What do you think? You know, are any of these guys
after Debo walked right under where I was sitting, and then after Ayuk went down, I went to the bar. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was like, no, I mean, I was in the stadium, but I was like, I'm going to go get another beer. Goodbye. So I'll be watching from the concourse for the next 10 minutes. man. And some tacos, by the way, some birria tacos. Woo, brother.
Oh, there you go.
But those are more like keep the body moving. We're not gonna talk about that. Yeah. I think Pearsall is interesting. Look, I think it was 3 for 14 last week. Is that what it was? I know it was 3 catches. I don't remember what the yardage was. It wasn't pretty. I still don't got shot
in the chest. I mean, come on.
I know.
Just a couple weeks
I don't know that I can start him yet. I don't know that I can start him. I think Jordan Mason's going to have a great day. I think Isaac Garendo is going to end up playing because I don't know how healthy Mason really is. So it's hard for me to say, like, look, Brock's got to throw it to someone. The obvious answer is George. Yeah, George. So fire George up in all formats, Mr. Tight End 1. But
for sure,
if you have Pearsall on your team, like I do, you're excited to play him, but not quite yet. I think next week, I don't know who we play next. I think next week, Seattle, I think, actually, if my memory's right. Anyway, it's not important. What is important is we know Ayuk,
and then we come off the bye.
Okay, so it's just 2 weeks, but that's our next game, right?
No, I think
Tampa
you get in Seattle.
Okay, so you get Debo back, you get Pearsall back with no Ayuk moving forward. We have no idea what's going on with 23. So, like, then you're excited because you know it's target consolidation and you can go get it. But like this,
matchups,
yeah. And this week, like, honestly, I think it's gonna be a bad game.
Yeah, I just want to see it.
Yeah, I need to see it. So no, I wouldn't go there
because they might put Diggs on him. I mean, come on.
That's what I mean. Like, it's like,
And then what? Brand might be back. You know, we were talking about the trio getting together. I think what was it, a week or two ago? But they might finally be back this week, coming off the bye. So we'll see. So I'm fading Sticky Ricky here. I have him down here at wide receiver 53, so I'm trying not to drink the juice here. I will play, I'll even play Jacoby Myers over him. Like that's how low I kind of have him down there. And you guys
I'd play in this same game we talked about. I'd play Tolbert over Ricky right now.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Same game.
Yeah, I had Tolbert in the 40s. So, so okay, good stuff there. Yeah. So that pretty much wraps up that game. So let's get to the last game here, and then we'll start getting to some of your guys' questions. So make sure you start dropping the questions there. We will scroll back up to the top and start getting to as many as we can. So the last game here we'll talk about is the Monday Night Football game. We have Giants coming in 2-5 at the Steelers, who are 5-2. We have Pittsburgh favored here by 6 with 36.5 point over under. I think for the most part, everyone's coming into this game pretty healthy. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I had any injuries on this game. So my only must starts I have in this one are Neighbors, Pickens, and then Najee's kind of on that borderline. But I think here against the Giants, although Giants have been a little, they're just kind of mid-pack. They're not too bad or not too good here with their defense. But I think I still, probably going to find a way to get Najee at least in my top 24. So, I mean, let's maybe just kind of start there. Maybe I shouldn't have had him as a must start. What do you think about Najee this week, him and Warren?
I think he's fine. I mean, look, last week was his best week, right? But this game just seems like a slog fest. Like their pace of play is the slowest predicted pace of play of the entire. Yeah, exactly. Great comment. This should be a Thursday nighter. Exactly, not the Monday night game.
Kind of the opposite of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think this is a slog fest. I think it's just slow. Like Pittsburgh's field plays slow. Like you can just look when you watch it on TV, that grass looks long. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't profile as like a big high scoring game. But I didn't think they put up 37 last week against the Jets. So there you go. Right. I think you can start Najee. I think you can start Najee. On the other side of the ball, I wouldn't start either of the Giants running backs. I'll be honest. Like I think Wandale's like you talked about earlier. I think Wandale's an interesting flex play. Like if you want to go there from a target consolidation volume play, I think that's fine. But I'm fading the running backs. TJ Watt's a game wrecker. You know what I mean? Like TJ Watt's going to wind up in that backfield and just, hang out and just do what he needs to do. But that's, I don't really see like a world where one of the other, I think Tyrone Tracy outsnapped Singletary last week and still only had like a 47% snap share.
Yeah, I think it was something like
that's
that.
That's not good. That's not the kind of metrics you want to see. And you want volume. You want fantasy is about volume.
Yeah, and especially if they're not moving the ball up and down the field. Neighbors didn't have a great game, coming back either. So, I mean, we'll see what happened. But I mean, he played 67% of the snaps Tracy did. Yeah. And did Singletary fumble?
No.
That was he has a couple of fumbles earlier. But he only played 21% of the snaps to Tracy's 67. So 5 carries for 18. Yeah, one for 3 yards. So it looks like it's kind of taking over, but I mean, we'll see. It's kind of brutal. I mean, again, they got behind so quickly. They didn't really have much of a chance. So anyway, all right. Who else we got here to talk about? Giants, Steelers. Pretty much that's it. Yeah.
Get Pat Fryermuth in there. That's it.
Okay. I think I had him kind of top 15-ish. In there. Russell Wilson, let's give him 2 seconds. What are your thoughts on Russell Wilson? Played pretty well last week, actually.
He actually looked good. He kind of looked like vintage Russ. I don't have him in the top 12, but in Superflex, you're obviously playing him, but I don't think I'd go there in this game. There's 2 ways that this game goes. Number one, it's super low scoring, right? And it's just a boring, slow game, and there's not a ton for either team. Number 2, Pittsburgh blows them out. And then at that point, it's like Russ is just handing it off anyway. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like he's not slinging it. So, he looked good last week, but no, I don't have him in the top 12. And like you said, the Giants are they're just kind of middle of the table. Like they're not great. They're not awful. They're just kind of Sexy Dexy's a problem. You know what I mean? Like Dexy's a problem. So like they've got some guys that can slow the game down for sure.
All right, give me your 2 seconds on the Wilson to Pickens connection. Like how do you think Pickens affects or how do you think Russ affects Pickens kind of rankings for you?
I mean, it gives him a boost because he's a better deep ball thrower than Justin Fields is. So I think Pickens just goes back to what you drafted him to be. You draft him to be a big play guy, and you just hope that he gets one of those big nights where it's 4 for 101 and a touchdown, right? Like that's what you're hoping for with Pickens.
low end 2, like high end 3, or high end
Low
2?
3-2.
Okay. See, I have him actually at 14 this week against the Giants. I think he could have a big game.
Oh. Good.
Yeah,
Well,
so I have him
but
ahead of
that's
Adams. I'm ahead of
but
Cooper,
that's it.
Higgins, Devonta Smith. So I just think he can
Well,
have a huge game.
Devonta Smith and Tank Dell are in the doghouse right now.
Yeah, that's why. I mean,
Go sit in the corner and think about what you mean. Go over there by yourselves. Yeah.
Seriously, that's why he's getting an 18. why
they're in the kids in the dunce cap in the corner, like staring at the chalkboard on the wall there.
Exactly. All right, good stuff. Yeah, so we're sitting pretty much everyone else: Dana Jones, Slayton, Johnson, Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin. We're not starting any of those guys. So that should wrap it up here. So again, we appreciate you guys for doing that. Before we get here to the live Q&A segment, so make sure you're dropping your chats in there. We will start getting to them here. We got to tell you about our boys over at TrophySmack.com. So for those of you guys who don't know, if you want just an amazing kind of keepsake or token for your league, in addition to whatever you may play for, go check out some of their custom designs they can get from their customized chains, rings, belts, or even just your standard trophies, all fully customizable to what you guys want for your league. We did this one through them for our 1,000 subscribers. So make sure you guys are hitting that like and subscribe button for us. We will give one out at 2,000 subscribers. So make sure you check that out. And again, use that promo code GetRight at checkout. So it helps support the channel. And use the link down in the description and go check out what they have to offer. All right. So let's get to some of this live Q&A. Phil, you can help me drive. We'll maybe kind of alternate it, and while I read one, you can kind of get the next one queued up and kind of go from there. So go right ahead, my guy.
Chivalry King wants to know, by the way, standard league. So appreciate whenever you guys dump a question for us.
Yes.
Helps us a ton if you give us the league format, full PPR, half standard, league size, and obviously TEP if it's one of those tight end questions. That always helps us to get a better sense. And then, of course, if you're asking mostly, of course, redraft, we assume everything's redraft. But if you want a dynasty question answered, just say that it's dynasty.
Right.
So Chivalry King wants to know in a standard league, who he should pair with Amari Cooper in a trade to get Monty and Devonta Smith. He has Nick Chubb, Najee Harris, and Ramondre Stevenson. His additional wide receivers are Tyreek and DJ Moore. So he's trying to upgrade a little bit at the wide receiver and really at the running back.
I would tell him, hey, you could have your pick at anyone.
That's what I would say as well.
Like if
well, that's what I would say as well.
Hey,
if I had to rank them though, how would you rank them though? Because that's what I would say too. I'll be like, take your pick. Just
literally,
here.
Pick, if I had to so as far as an order to give away first, I'd probably say I like Ramondre's playoff schedule, so he's sneakily maybe like 2 for me. I'd probably say Chubb, then Najee. Then actually probably Najee, Chubb, and then Ramondre. But really Najee and Chubb for me can go either way. I just don't believe in that Cleveland offense right now, especially with them getting rid of Cooper. And then again with Winston, he may just start chucking it, which will get him in, negative game strips potentially where they can't just run the ball out. And then just Najee and Arthur Smith. You guys know I'm not a Najee fan, but Ramondre is a little interesting. So if anyone, I'd maybe try to hold on to him.
I would add Chubb to this trade because it's a standard league. Somebody might see that and think touchdown upside, big name. It doesn't, again, not everyone's a guru and thinks about the age and the age cliff and, Amari trade and all that. They don't think about the details. Just go, you should have seen some of the chats in some of the leagues when Nick Chubb came back. People were like, oh, Nick Chubb's going to save my, I was just laughing. I was like, he's not going to save your season. Get the fuck out of here. But we all got to have hope.
There it is.
Scott White wants to know, do you think Chris Olave will do anything this week?
Yeah. I mean, being the only target there, I have lowered expectations just a bit, as we talked about because of, Spencer Rattler being there. But I still have him at 22. So I have him at a low end wide receiver 2 this week, just because of opportunity. Yeah.
Do I think he'll do anything? Yes. Do I think he'll do what you want him to do, Scott White? No.
Maybe that you drafted him as that wide receiver 1. Nah, but he'll get you double digit, I think. Yeah, he should be double digit. I think he'll be double digit even without a touchdown. A touchdown, he'll put you in that plus 15 kind of area. We have Cap for Life in here saying needs 2 wide receivers, Darrell McMillan, Smith, or Tolbert. So I think we're for sure Devonta Smith If that is, I assume that's Devonta Smith.
I would assume that's,
Who's your 2 basically?
I mean, my brain says Tank can't possibly get another 0 in 2 straight weeks, but I just can't go there with McMillan. I can't. You know, like I get it. I get the appeal, and like, but that's why I said earlier in the show when we were talking about that game. If you want exposure to the Bucs wide receiver room, go play in a DFS tournament. Go play in a DFS cash game, and where it's, you know what I mean, like where if he blows up, you win money. Like I don't want him in a managed league. You know what I mean? Like Tank gives you the best. Tank gives you the highest ceiling outcome. Yeah. Apparently, he gives you the lowest floor right now too.
Yeah. I don't think I could get a little lower. Didn't somebody have like?
Couldn't he fumble? I think someone fumbled. I think Devonta Smith fumbled last week.
Oh no, he had like 1 for 1 for -2, but in PPR you were still like 0.2 or like 0.8. It wasn't quite a 0.
So you go sit in the corner and think about what you just did.
Exactly. Don't do that again. Nino's in here saying, "Is the Ram show back?"
They looked good, man.
Stafford,
by the way, I know you said it. I know I said it. I know Matthew Berry said it. Puka, what? That
should have played last week. Like if he was that good this week, his ass should have been playing last week.
Bro, I
That
just
looked
traded.
like he was the one coming off the injury.
I just traded Puka for Josh Jacobs, and now I feel like a dumbass.
I feel the only thing that's saving me from my Brian Thomas Jr. trade for Puka straight up. Remember in the Super Bowl league?
Yeah, but that's Dynasty.
But that's why I said it's because it's Dynasty. So I'm like, all right. But yeah, if you're talking redraft and I would have just made that trade, I would have been like, man, Brian Thomas Jr. better have a big old game this week to make that feel.
Josh Jacobs better score at least 1 touchdown against the freaking Jaguars. They are 32nd against the run. So come on, Josh Jacobs.
Right. Caprolite says he lives in Miami. Don't get him started. The Cards are hungry after the Rams win in the NFC West. It can be wide open if Buffalo beats Seattle.
Just don't let the guy, if we're not going to win the division, just don't let the Sea Chickens win the damn division.
Right. Just can't do it. I don't know if we saw this, but he said his other wide receivers are tight. DJ Moore. You had that in there? Okay, cool. All right.
Start 2, BTJ, Darnell Mooney, Brian. Well, I know who you're starting. Brian Robinson. You're starting the same 2 I'm starting.
Yeah, so BTJ and B-Rob for me.
BTJ and B-Rob for me as well. Dak or Captain Kirk?
I think I have Kirk ahead.
I do as well. 10 teams, a lot of standard questions, man. King Henry and Jay. Yeah, good for you guys are holding strong, man. I don't play in any standard leagues. You guys are the OGs for sure. 10 team standard, King Henry, JT, who have week 14 buys. The issue is that playoffs are week 14. I'm 6-1 currently. I'm stacked everywhere, but feel like I should trade one of them off. What would you do?
Well, the first thing I would do is bitch and complain to the manager and say, why are we playing playoffs in week 14 while there's bye weeks? That should just be a no. That's why you should have as soon as they change the NFL season to 17 weeks or 18 weeks with the 17 total games, fantasy should have followed suit. So if you're still playing weeks 14, 15, 16, that's the first thing that you need to do. And this is one of those things that I probably wouldn't even mind changing mid-season. Like this should have been done years ago. And again, that's a tough situation to be in. But with that said, I mean, what do you do here, Phil? Your top 2 guys, especially in standard, you're not trading them away, right?
No, what you're doing is you are going and finding the cheapest guy that you can possibly get, and you are just unloading the bottom 2, bottom 3 guys on your roster. Because let me say this: once you get to the playoffs, injuries don't matter anymore. Depth no longer matters.
Yeah.
You need 10 guys, 9, 10, 11, or whatever your starts, whatever your start is. Let's just assume for solidarity, it's 10, right? You need 10 guys, and you're basically just looking for extreme ceiling. So you're not trading either one of them. You're going to go and try and find Ty Chandler. You're going to go try and find Zach Charbonnet. You're going to go try and find Chase, probably not Chase Brown, Zach Moss if you can. You know what I mean? Like you're going to go find someone that's in a committee that you know is going to not get you a 0. And hope that the rest of your team, I don't know, ZH, who the rest of your team is. You're saying your team is stacked. So if you've got, ceiling, you got Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, Otten. No, I'm just kidding. That was
yeah. But
yeah.
Like that's what I mean. So like if you've got extreme ceiling elsewhere, then yeah, just go get someone that's not going to get you 0 and hope the rest of your team gets you through to the next round. And then boom, you got King Henry and JT. You probably win a championship.
Right. Now let's just play devil's advocate. Let's say you did want to go the route of splitting these guys up and you did want to trade one of them. Like, what are you looking for in return for a Henry or JT? I would assume Henry's the one you're going to want to keep because if you want to move forward there. So let's say, again, JT is kind of coming off the injury. He's active again. Anthony Richardson isn't quite what he was. So maybe there is a sell high opportunity here on JT if you were. Would you trade him for I don't know if you'd get like Hiron Gibbs, Bijan Brees. I think they're off the table. But
you can go get Monty. You can go get Monty though. That's exactly the first name that came to my mind. You can go get Monty, or I'm sorry, you can go get Knuckles.
Yeah, there you go. He
likes to be called Knuckles now.
There you go.
Actually, which one is which? Which one is Sonic? Which one is Knuckles? We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll go. Brian Robinson Jr. Like, would you trade JT for B-Rob right now? And maybe another piece.
I need another piece. Yeah.
Okay. Actually,
but I think that's what you could go get. I think you could go get.
Trade for B-Rob.
I think you could go get Javonte and a wide receiver.
Yeah. The other thing too, though, let me preface this by saying this. Hold on. I don't think you do anything now at week 8 because these two guys could get hurt this week, and now it doesn't even matter, right?
Correct.
But as you get closer to your trade deadline, I think usually most people's trade deadlines like November, mid-November, kind of like week 13 or
week
14,
between 11 and 13, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So depending on how people kind of push it back there. Most of the leagues I play in, we like to run that trade deadline kind of as late as we can. A couple of them we run it up until the full regular season you could trade, but it just shuts off at playoffs. That's my preferred. So if you're playing a league with me, that's most likely how it is. Yeah. So I mean, you're looking for someone at least on that level. I mean, would you take Kamara for JT?
Not straight up.
Okay. All right. So I mean, yeah, there's just not too many people where you could do kind of a straight up trade like that, right? Running back for running back. That's the problem, right? Because
I would go trade for
higher and lower.
Josh Jacobs. Like, I don't want someone that's got unless I'm going to go try to get a 2-for-1 with a committee guy that's not going to get me 0 and an extra wide receiver. Because again, like you said, you don't know who's going to be hurt at that point. Yeah. I would go get someone that's got no competition around them that for that 1 week that you need them should get the volume enough to get you there and hope they fall in the end zone.
Right. All right. So we'll keep moving on here. Cap for Life says Fairmouth or Fant.
Fant. The game environment's better.
Yeah, I think so too. With no DK, I'll go Fant.
Yeah.
If with DK, I mean, I don't think he's playing. But
I don't think DK is playing. That game environment, Buffalo, Seattle has a much better game environment than Seattle and the Giants does.
For sure. We got Eric in the house. What's up, Eric? Again, make sure you guys are hitting that like and subscribe button for us. Drop your questions in the chat. If you do drop us a super chat, we will get to it right away. Hopefully we haven't missed a super chat yet. Actually, we just had one here. So sorry, Eric. We have to trump your, I didn't mean to use that word in this stream. Try to stay very PC or non-PC in here. But Nino says, so I don't send Tay for DK or Debo. So did he ask? Okay, he said, I asked earlier with my other super chat, but still want some more opinions on it. Oh, so he sent a super chat to the early show. He just traded for Brees and didn't realize he has Devontae with him. He wants to move on from Tay right now. So does he send Tay for DK or Debo? Of the two, I would say DK.
I would say DK as well.
Okay, right now.
I would say the same.
Are you tripping to have Tay and Brees on the same team first and foremost?
No,
and then...
I mean I'm not. I look. Last week was his first week. I think better days are ahead, but it's close with DK and Debo. I'd rather have DK just because he is the alpha in that offense, and you and I both know as Niners fans, and everyone that watches football knows how the Niners go. When it's Debo's week, he wins you the week. But then the next week, when George Kittle gets 87 yards and 2 touchdowns, Debo gets you 5 points. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the volatility you have to live with the Niners.
With Christian McCaffrey potentially coming back week 10, week 11.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, allegedly. But yeah, so again, just something to keep in consideration. But he says he's just not loving that jet stack, to be honest. So
I mean, the volume sucks.
It, then yeah, I mean, if you have an offer for DK or Debo, one's being offered, or that's what you're looking to acquire. I don't mind DK because I think I had DK actually higher than Adams heading into the year. Even with him over at Rodgers, I still think I prefer DK over Adams just in a vacuum, personally.
I agree.
All right, so we'll go back to Eric's question here. Where was it? A little bit up there. So again, we appreciate the super chat. You guys see how it is. If you want to jump right to the front of the line, just throw us a super chat and we will get there.
The
So,
flex would you start?
there
I
it
assume
is.
this is Javonte Williams because Jameson Williams is not participating in football for 2 weeks. So I
Yes.
assume this is Javonte over Olave and Marv. I would.
I think so against Carolina.
I would. Carolina,
Yeah.
yeah. I would this
Carolina,
week
I
for
would.
1 week, yeah.
Yeah.
Javonte scored twice last week. He looked good. I mean, the Saints looked a shell of themselves. The Saints have looked a shell of themselves, but
They were just kind of like beat up. Like it just looked. It was a Thursday game. I mean,
Bro Nix looked good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't
Bo
know.
Nix almost made the trade force segment in my Dynasty show the other day. Like that's how close it was. I was like, do we need to start talking about Bo Nix? Like he looks okay as a QB2. As a QB2.
Well, yeah. But yeah,
like he
no, of
looked
course.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, he was what? He put together what? He's had what? 4 straight games of 20 or more points in the 6 point PPR
like
league. I mean, that's all you're asking for, right?
Yeah,
It's better than Kyler lately.
Better than Kyler. He's had
So-
he's had 2 weeks where he's been better than CJ Stroud for 2 weeks.
Stroud,
But like,
CJ
CJ's
Stroud's
been on the
the
struggle
5.
bus right now.
Yeah, that's your 4. So anyway, all right, good stuff there. So yep, there you go, Scott. Go ahead, read it off.
Who's Jameis going to throw to? I picked him up in a deep league, dropped Andy Dalton. Love that, by the way. I mean, look, Elijah, these aren't sexy names, but Elijah Moore's there. He's capable. Jerry Jeudy's there. He's capable. You know what I mean?
Cedric
like David
Tillman just had 12
Njoku,
targets.
Cedric Tillman's there. He's capable. Like Njoku's
Njoku's
fine.
gonna
So,
Be fire.
I mean, Njoku, it was with Flacco, but Njoku was a second half of the year league winner last year, and I don't think Jameis is that much different than Flacco.
That's
so
what I'm saying. Yeah, Njoku should eat.
Njoku's an interesting trade
He's a
for target
mismatch.
right now.
Bro, Njoku's like he's one of my favorite just football players. Like behind Kittle, he's like almost like my second favorite tight end in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting trade for target for sure right now because Jameis.
Remember his face burned off and he was still playing.
I know.
Remember that?
I know.
The dude's
it's
a beast.
wild.
He's nuts.
He's
Just look at him.
Hey, you know
Again,
what? At least he's got all 10. At least he's got all 10 of his fingers.
Yeah,
AJ,
exactly.
so.
Right. Exactly. Well, and remember,
Safety kids.
Exactly. Don't play with fire. PSA. Remember how I always say, like, if I always say it about King Henry, if we're playing schoolyard and you're out there and you're captain and you just look at the line of people and you see Derrick Henry, of course you're picking him one, but the next person you're probably picking is David Njoku because he looks just like him.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't even care what position he plays. I'll take that guy. So yeah. Anyway, good stuff. All right, where else are we at? We've got Jeezy in the house. What's up, Jeezy? And again, shout out to the ACG Veterans Invitational, the charity league that Jeezy puts on, helping our vets with the K9, I believe, for Warriors. I may have that incorrect, but I know it's to help the therapy K9s for the veterans. So again, we appreciate what he does with that. He says, how is Dallas still an underdog? He hammered plus 5.5 when he got it. But Cowboys are still +4. Not only do they cover, but we all know they win outright. So Jeezy trolling us here a little bit. I expect nothing less. But what are your thoughts here to our betting guy?
Good luck.
well said. All right, so we got Scott here saying Miles Sanders did absolutely nothing this year. It's been all Chuba. Let's see.
Here's one
that
right
was a
here.
question. There you go.
Do I need another running back? Thoughts on a team when I have to work with Love, Neighbors, Metcalf, Olave, Puka, BTJ, Deontay, McBride, Pitts, Hall. I was about to say you need a running back because I haven't read one yet. Pitts, here we go. Brees, Achane, Pollard, Brooks. I think you need another running back because Brooks, I'll be honest, man. I don't care if Brooks comes back next week. He's not going to do anything for a month.
Yeah.
Look at it.
There's
I mean,
no reason.
look,
Chuba's been playing fine. They don't need to put any wear and tear.
and they're not going to win a damn thing this season. So
Yeah,
why
don't.
risk your rookie future running back with a lost season? So I don't.
They'll get
I
him
mean,
some work. Get him used to the speed of the game. I think just kind of see how he looks. Get him a little more comfortable. But
so
yeah, I
let
think
me
it's still
flip this
just
question so that we can help Jay Smells here. Who are we trading and who are we trading for to help? Because I'm great with Achane and Brees as my 1-2, but
I honestly don't think anything wrong with Pollard either. And
no, that's what I mean. So
yeah. I mean, if I could maybe turn Pollard into B-Rob, that's where my heart goes all the time. You saw what I sent in the chat, I think earlier today.
I'll be honest.
Oh,
I didn't
maybe.
check it.
Okay.
No, I haven't. I haven't even
we all been kind of a little dark.
Today is just like I saw whatever you and I were texting about one-on-one, but in the group chat
Right,
today,
right.
I've kind of been out of it. So
No
I
worries.
actually had like one of those crazy Fridays at work where I was like, damn, y'all, man, I got a
Actually
podcast
got
to do tonight. Don't y'all know I got shit to prep
here.
for? I would trade Chris Olave and try to go find another running back. I would go try to find James Conner.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like I'd go
literally what
trade.
my cursor was right now.
I'd go try to get James Conner. I'd go get Josh Jacobs.
What about J.K. Dobbins?
I'd go get J.K. Dobbins. I'd go get someone that doesn't have competition behind him because you're only asking him to be kind of a bye-week fill-in or injury replacement.
Right. I was going to say Brooks and Deontay, but I realized they're on the same team, so that's probably not happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I can package.
Well, for now,
Collar,
Deontay may be on the move.
Traded, and maybe that's how
He
you
may be on
package
the
him.
move.
Say, look, I'm going to trade you these guys, but the RB1 for Carolina, which might be okay. You've seen how good Chuba's doing, and then here, take DeAndre Johnson because he's about to get traded, just like D Hop and Adams just got traded. So yeah, maybe you can pull that off and get somebody.
Possible.
Would you trade Chase Brown straight up for Brooks right now?
Yeah.
Or trade Brooks for Chase Brown, if you will,
to acquire Chase Brown.
Right.
You won't get that done, but yeah, you should.
Okay.
You have to have extreme belief that Brooks is going to come back, take Chuba's job, and be good
on a terrible team, right?
Those are three things that I only think one of those is going to happen, and it's that Brooks is actually going to get activated and play.
Maybe what about Brooks or Dowdle?
I'd rather have Dowdle. Like one guy's all these names play football and one guy doesn't right now. Like, I mean, like,
would you take Tyrone Tracy for Brooks if you could get that done?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only players that I'm not taking are like Jalen Wright, you know what I mean? Like guys that are like really buried down there that like, could emerge, or like you need an injury to like really, like Spears.
Would you take like an RB2 like Charbonnet over Brooks? Like, do you think he contributes more to your team or provides more value as a handcuff to K9 should something happen there versus having that RB4? I honestly don't think I personally, like, again, I draft hero RB, so to have just three running backs like this, Hall, Achane, and Pollard, to me is like, I'm like, bro, you're set for the year.
I would with all these receivers though, like I would trade one of them to just go get a little bit of depth because this is a playoff roster.
Yeah,
like Love,
you
fantastic right now. BTJ, Neighbors, like this is a good McBride. I mean, it's tight end to everyone sucks, but like at least he's a guy that you can plug and play, and you're not like streaming from your own bench a tight end every week, right? Like you have a set it and forget it.
Would you trade Neighbors for like David Montgomery? Or do you think it's still heavily in the favor of
I'd rather have Neighbors. Full PPR, I'd rather have Neighbors.
What about Jonathan Taylor?
Neighbors for JT?
Right.
I'd rather have Neighbors right now.
Okay.
JT's hurt. The Colts have been stinky. Like it's
okay.
The only thing
that's still not enough.
I mean, Neighbors is
three-headed field over there now.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's hard to trade for Neighbors right now, or trade him away. I mean, unless you want to send me 3 first-round picks, and if you're listening, you know exactly who you are.
Hey, it's not me.
And the negotiations have begun.
It's begun. Let's do it. Jeezy's saying, I can't wait to be like Phil and watch the Niners lose in person. So Jeezy's trying to get me out to Tampa Bay right now, man, to go watch this Niners Tampa Bay game on November 10th. So they're doing their veterans. I know, man. He's been telling me, he's like, I got you. All you got to do is pay for your flight. I got you for everything else.
Do it.
Like, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. We'll see. Don't give up on me, Jeezy. I'm trying.
Man, if you don't, I will. I mean, I grew up in Florida. I got family. I got friends down there.
Right. So you're good, Jeezy. I have a tag in if I can't make it, man. Get my boy Phil out there. You guys can watch the Niners lose in person together. Hey, we're gonna beat you now because you just lost everybody. You're like us now. It's even. It's our backups versus backups. All right. So Scott White's out here asking. He's wondering if Juju will be in for reps when he comes back. So with the addition of D Hop there, do you think Juju comes in and is the wide receiver 2? And will he be fantasy relevant? I think is the better question.
It's just a question of whether D Hop's fantasy relevant or not. Like we're all making the assumption that D Hop is going to be the one there, which I mean I think he's going to be at least this week, right? But like I don't know yet. Juju, I think they're going to play enough 3 wide receiver that he'll still be flex worthy on certain weeks.
Okay.
I think it's possible he's flex worthy on certain weeks.
I think this is always worth mentioning. Don't forget the Chiefs MVPs are the refs. So that's always good to put out there as well, too.
All right.
Go ahead.
Start 2, full PPR, Kareem Hunt, DeAndre Swift, Smitty.
Devonta Smith, I assume?
Yeah, who's Smitty? I assume
Is there a
Devonta Smith
running back?
I don't think there's a Smith running back.
Please clarify, Shane, if you're still here. We're going to
if you're
assume
here.
Devonta Smith. If that's the case, I'm going to go, I think, Hunt and Smitty.
I would do the same.
And then Swift there. But he's not too bad.
Tempted to start Cole Kmet over Sam Laporta.
Yeah, we
Not
have
this
him,
week.
Back to back, so I don't hate
Not this week. No Jamison Williams. Not this week.
Yeah, he has like
This actually kind of profiles the Titans are atrocious.
And
the
no
games,
Williams. Yeah,
that's what I mean. So like the games. That's what I said. No JMO.
Okay.
Yeah. No JMO. So games.
Someone.
I think the games at home. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But the Titans suck. So I think this could be a Laporta week.
There you go. We saw this earlier. Just
Hunter Henry. Oh,
yeah.
yes.
No, I just
hello.
Yeah.
We prefer the term
Friday.
enthusiasts.
Yes,
Just
analysts.
in case.
We'll say analysts.
Analysts.
Even though I do have
Hunter Henry or Jake Ferguson in PPR.
Love me some Hunter Henry, but I still think I got Fergie higher here. I can't do it over Fergie.
Well, to use Robert Thomas's own words from 2 comments after this, I have Ferguson because it's science.
There you go. When we were talking breathing is science. There you
It's
go. Good
science.
stuff. All right, what else do we got?
I'm hoping Scott White says I'm hoping CMC is back in week 11. You, me, the Niners, everybody else is too, brother. We are all hoping for him.
Here goes Uncle Ted in the house saying King Henry 2K, Rashad Bateman Zaire 2.0.
Possible.
Huh. Yes. So Scott's asking, wondering if it's worth having both Singletary and Tracy as the handcuff or just get out of the entire mess. I'll take the latter.
Get out. Run for the hills.
For sure. And we got Ted in here giving us our good stats here. Bateman projects identical to 2023 Ayuk, 75 catches, 1,200 yards, around 7 to 8 touchdowns, except Bateman has a much better quarterback. Hey now. Not a ton of catches, but all the wire routes for Bateman. Thoughts on this? Sterling Shepard is going to go off. Agree or disagree?
I have no idea which of the Bucks wide receivers is going to have a good day. It's possible. It's in the range of outcomes. Would I bet it?
31.
No. I'll answer the question. I'll answer the quiz 31. Yeah. I'll answer the question this way. I have Jalen McMillan in my DFS cash lineup right now. The reason I have him is because he's 3,700 and Sterling Shepard is 3,800. And with the lineup that I have, that extra $100 allows me to get Monty into my flex spot.
So that's why you'll do it. Yeah.
So that's why I have McMillan there.
Perfect. Eric said,
I think the real answer to the question is Cade Otton. Cade Otton season.
Right. Or just Rashad White. I'd love for Rashad White.
Rashad White. Rashad White should have a good day.
Eric said his questions were PPR 12 teams, so that's perfect. That's basically our default anyway. So if you feel like not putting that in there, that's what we're going to default to anyway. So I appreciate you mentioning that comment. Go ahead.
This conversation, man, this is just driving me crazy. Tank, Bateman, Shakir, Coleman, start one. Also, it's Batman, not Bateman, but it's Bateman. Tank gives you the best option. Tank gives you the highest ceiling, but he had a fucking 0, and he only had 4 targets. So forget the 0.
Yeah.
Let's say he caught all 4 of those targets. Like, unless they were one of them was a bomb for a touchdown, it's still not a good day.
Yeah, with no Collins.
Yeah. That's no.
It's the second week without Collins. It's not even the first week without Collins, right?
That's what I mean. I think this is week 3 without Nico.
Yeah. So this is how I answer this. Shakir, I think, is your safest floor. Correct. I think Bateman is if you want to get a little spicy, just kind of ride that hot hand, so to speak. Bateman's kind of the thing, especially with Flowers out. I'd feel a little more confident there to put him at 2. Then I think I go Dell at 3, just give him the benefit of the doubt, and then I'll put Coleman at 4. But I mean, really, all these guys are kind of all about the same.
Flowers out? I thought he was questionable.
I said if he's out. Then
if he's out. I thought they said with him out.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like with him, if he were to be out, like with him out, that makes Bateman more interesting. But yeah, I should have clarified that.
He practiced today.
Yeah. No, he's not rolled out. He's questionable. Yeah.
Are you waiting on me?
Yeah. What was your final answer? Yeah, my bad. I was kind of reading some other questions too, getting ready to queue up the next one.
Play Bateman. The Ravens Ravens could roll in this game. You know what I mean? They could roll.
Yeah. So good stuff. So Tyler agrees. Uncle Ted said Dylan Bateman, easy for him. So there you go. I mean, you never.
I mean, it was the question was start one, so you don't get to pick two, but yeah.
Or Bateman, yeah. All right. So Red Solo Club, what's up, man? Glad to have you here. He says rank rest of the season. Sam Darnold, AR5, Tua, Caleb, Russ, Goff, and Drake May. So what order you got these guys in?
I really hope that you don't have this many quarterbacks on your team because we need to have a conversation. I would have it rest of season. I have it between Darnold and Goff as the top quarterback, and then Caleb. Just from a consistency, better playmakers, better offense, explosive offense. I would have Richardson and Tua at the bottom for injury reasons and for performance reasons. So that leaves me with Russ and Drake May kind of in the middle. So if I have to in a vacuum pick one, I would pick Goff just because of the consistency of the offense, like what they've got going in Detroit, I do think is better than what they have overall in Minnesota. I mean, Aaron Jones has been great this season. JJ's JJ, like he's never going to be bad. So, but when the Lions are rolling, man, like they're pretty good.
Yeah, and that's why I got Goff ahead, and I think that injury to their $100 million tackle is going to help.
Christian Darius Shaw.
Yeah, it's gonna make a little bit of an impact. Goff's still playing behind that line. Don't forget all the games he's still playing in a dome. And again, all his weapons there. He'll get J-Mo back. He's not hurt. Just facing that suspension. And so so I'm gonna go Goff, Darnold. Then I'll go Caleb to AR, and then Russ, and then actually I'm gonna put Drake May and then Russ there. So there we go. Robert says pick one wide receiver to drop in PPR redraft leagues. Shakir, Ridley. There you go. Just Ridley or Demario Douglas. Pop. Good old Pop. Who you got?
Probably Pop. Offense is that. I mean, although to be fair, Tennessee's offense is bad. So now that I say that, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Like I thought you were.
I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, wait, no, Calvin Ridley. I did kind of dunk on him earlier today. So yeah, sorry, Calvin.
Keep it going. So Thomas says, up guys, he's decimated by injuries. He lost Rice, Evans, Debo. PPR, I don't know what the Q means. PPR or his question. PPR start 3. He's looking for Pop Douglas, McMillan, Tolbert, Bateman, Ladd, or Debo. So
for this week?
Yeah.
I'm starting Bateman, I'm starting Ladd, and then who do the Patriots play?
Yeah, I was literally
because it's between McMillan and
it's funny how we share a brain sometimes. New England is playing the Jets, but Pop plays in the slot. I don't think
it's not Sauce. It's not Sauce.
But Polk and with Polk out with the concussion.
Yeah. Drake May's been good.
Ladd's a little interesting.
Well, Ladd's in there for me. Start 3. I'm starting Ladd. Okay. I'm starting Ladd. I'm starting Bateman. Those two are locks for me in this scenario. Debo's a no. We talked about it.
I'm fading lungs, Debo.
All that stuff.
I'm gonna go. I'm just rip the Band-Aid. I'll say Pop. Hopefully he's done dealing with that illness. And I like
that's my lean as well. But
I've seen Douglas do it, so I'll err on the side of that versus the other one with McMillan.
That's my lean as well.
All right. We got Eric in here. We'll go for maybe another 15 minutes here, guys. So if you want your questions answered, make sure you drop it here. You can always drop a super chat to get to the top of the line, but it doesn't seem like we have too many more, but we'll get through them here. So again, if you want it read, make sure you get it in now. Eric Serrano's asking Barkley, Hunt, or his RBs. Wide receivers are Jason and Dell. Who does he flex? Olave, Javante, or Harrison? It's a full PPR 12 team. It's a little more
we had this
detail
earlier
to his previous question.
It's just more more about his lineup. We said Javante earlier.
Yeah, I still think that doesn't change anything for me.
Doesn't
I
change
mean,
anything for me
would you, Jason or Dell, like, are you playing Olave or Harrison over Jason or Dell? I think maybe that might be, because Barkley and Knight, you're starting, it's no question.
I mean, if you're scared off of Tank, I might play Olave over him.
Yeah, I think I might have Olave and Harrison over Dell.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
JSN.
Well, JSN, I would start. JSN, I don't think DK is going to play. So JSN,
Yeah,
and if he does, it could be a decoy. So decoy Metcalf. But I think JSN is in there.
KOI.
Cardinals.
Decoy.
Cardinals are playing the Dolphins, right? And the Dolphins are kind of poo-poo. Chris Olave has.
I have Harrison literally one spot ahead of Olave.
Yeah.
Actually, I have it ranked Harrison, Olave, Dell, and then JSN, but I think maybe this was before. So yeah, I'm gonna actually put Jason right ahead of them. They're all gonna be back to back. Jason, Harrison, Olave for me. Because again, that Miami defense a little more civvy, and the potential with Kyler and MHJ, I'll take that a little bit over Olave and Rattler. So that was the make or break.
He's just had such a bad last 3 weeks, Marv.
Yeah, but he could just pop off out of nowhere again anytime. We've seen it. So
2 weeks because he had the concussion. I shouldn't hold the concussion against him. That's not fair. But
right.
Yeah, Marv gives you the highest ceiling for sure.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
He easily gives you the highest ceiling. So yeah.
So Jason, Marv, and Javonte would be the three I'm starting. 2 wide receivers in the flex.
We got there. We got there in the end.
Right. Good stuff. See, sometimes it's better to clarify the question.
Talk it out.
Sebastian says, would you trade Purdy and Dell for Love and JMO in redraft?
Yep.
I think I would.
Yep.
I think I would. That Love floor is going to be nice for you.
Yeah, I mean,
the only thing that's scary is just weather. That's the only thing I worry about. And I think Green Bay plays week 16 and 17 in Green Bay.
Yeah, but Jordan Love, man, I have been him and Derrick Henry. I have been taking the over on the 1.5 passing touchdowns for Love every week, and I keep cashing every week.
There you go.
I've been taking anytime touchdowns on Derrick Henry, and I just keep collecting checks. Thank you very much.
Although he didn't score a rushing touchdown last week, but got that receiving touchdown.
Anytime touchdown doesn't matter. Just get the ball over the goal line, sir.
There it is. All right. Oh no, this was part of his super chat here. Do we have you see any others in there? Oh, here we go. Should I trade Scary Terry for James Conner? That's interesting.
Yes.
I'm
curious what the rest of your team looks like, but
yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, it's a little scary getting rid of him because he was looking real good with Jane Daniels, but I mean, if you're really hurting at running back, I don't mind you. And this is the time to sell him before he has like this terrible game against Chicago too, because then you might have to wait another week for him to have a better game after that.
Bro, James Conner only has 2 games where he has not gotten above double-digit.
What, like 15? I was going to say like less than 15 or 13 or something.
In full PPR, his lowest game was 14. Well, his lowest
that's
game.
Not a double. Yeah,
it's not a double, but his lowest double digit was against the Niners with 14, and he was still 19 for 86. He just didn't score a touchdown.
Right. That would have.
He scores a touchdown. He scores a touchdown. He's 20 points. So
exactly.
Yeah.
He scored 2 against us last year in one of the games. So.
He had 101 yards last week.
Yeah.
Excuse me, rushing yards. He had 162 all-purpose yards last week.
Yeah. Connor's
152. Good. Simple math. I'm getting tired. 150.
It's all right. We're getting there. 12 more minutes, guys. 12 more minutes. All right.
Defensive question. Start the Niners defense or the Steelers?
Probably Steelers.
Steelers. Yeah. That's where I go as well.
Let's go Steelers. I like this. Hold on. We'll get to that one. Raven says he doesn't really have a question. He's just enjoying the stream. So we'll always take those compliments as well, too. Appreciate you, Ravens.
Appreciate you, brother.
Sticking it out through both shows, man. Appreciate you guys. Good stuff. All right, go ahead. Read off Caesar's question.
Just traded Tank, Bigsby, and trade. Oh, my God.
You got it.
Traded
you got
Tank.
It.
Words are hard. I just traded Tank Bigsby and Jalen McMillan for Olave. Was that a good trade?
Almost had a spit take there.
Tank's been really good lately.
I think it was a beautiful trade. You take a waiver wire guy with a guy you picked up off the waiver wire before, with ETN coming back potentially, if not this week, next week. I mean, Tank, if it's full PPR, I think this is a good trade. with the target share that Olave's about to get with no Shaheed, when and if Carr comes back. I mean, unless they decide to keep Spencer going, like if they just think they're out of it for whatever reason and want to give Spencer the work. But I don't think they'll do that. Like, I think they'll go back to Carr. People still want to keep their jobs. But
here's my question. Like, this is a serious question.
Yeah.
What if Tank kills it again this week?
You think what do you mean by killing it? Like 19 for 98 and a touchdown or something?
Yeah, like he had 2 touchdowns last week. Was it last week or 2 weeks before?
Yeah. But see, I still think if Etienne's healthy, he gets at least one of those touchdowns. Plus all the work that Dearness Johnson has, and I think he takes at least 30% of the carries that Bigsby had. Because
against Indianapolis, 13 for 101 and 2. He has the stinker against Chicago. Fine, he 27% snap share. That game was just out of the balance.
But when that happens against that defense, though, when that happens, that's going to be Etienne all day, and so that's why I still like Etienne better.
Yeah, I'm 100
in standard or maybe half PPR, then yeah, but in full PPR,
I was looking at his full. I'm looking at full right now. The part that I do like that you said it was Shaheed out, Olave, but it's just been
12 targets.
It's just been so hard to trust Olave in the Saints. Like, it's just been so. He's not a touchdown guy right now. He's just not. But
yeah,
I don't think it's a bad trade. I think
Shaheed, though, because that was the problem there is when Shaheed's connecting on those big plays, that takes out 3 or 4 plays in a drive. So now if they're not going to have that big play option, they're going to have to dink and dunk down the field, which I think benefits Olave big time. So I don't mind it. Again, sometimes you got to just take a risk. You might be wrong. I might be wrong. But to me, I don't think you're risking much. Like, to get a guy you're taking 2 guys you got off the waiver wire, drafted maybe in round 10 and off the waiver wire in week 8 for a guy that was drafted round 2. I mean, I know draft capital doesn't matter too much by week 8, but still we had him ranked there for a reason. And I mean, not too much change. The only thing that's really changed permanently rest of season is the fact that his number 2 target, who ended up playing a lot better than we even thought, is now no longer even there. So he should go back to about where we had him, pre-draft.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I think my bias, of course, is if you're a fan of the show, you know how much I've just been poo-pooing and beating down the Jaguars all season. And look, right. and that's fine from like an NFL standpoint. I was clearly right in my prediction that they're going to suck and like all these things. Yeah. But BTJ's putting up numbers, Tank's putting up numbers at 10, and that's what we care about for fantasy.
Because of that defense, because
I don't care if you win the game or not. Like, who cares?
The points, it's hard to see 25 and 23 points 2 out of the last 3 games, but then that flat floor of a 2.4 with Chicago. But again, that's why I'm steering away from Chicago this week, guys. Like, Chicago's defense.
No, Chicago's good.
Yeah. So all right, let's go.
Kamara, Kyron, rest of season.
I think you have to go Kyron, man.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think Cooper Kupp will stay. I don't think he'll get traded. I don't know that he's healthy right now. He didn't look good last night.
Yeah,
like I'm not talking about the fact that Puka killed it, but like, I think the only thing I did see in the group chat today was Classic posted of something like 42 routes run or something for Puka and 41 for Kupp.
Yeah,
snaps. Yeah. Not routes run.
Just felt like it always just felt like Puka was on the field way more than Kupp. Like, but they basically
I mean, you watch the head movement. It's like Jesus every time. It was like, where's Puka? Where's Puka? But Kyron, I think my point being is I think if Kupp stays and if Puka stays healthy, I think that helps Kyron. You got to defend both those guys. So that to me, we just talked about Shaheed's out. If Olave stinks, like, stack the box. Don't let Kamara beat you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
If Jaden Daniels is out, do I start Dak or drop him and snag Geno/Bo Nix?
They both only played 52 and 57% of the snaps, Kupp and Puka, respectively.
No, yeah, they were both out. It was like a rotation. You could see it, like Robinson and whoever else. 2-2 came in together, and of course Robinson catches 2 touchdowns. And
after and I went back, of course, and watched my take, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're definitely sitting Robinson. I can literally just cut that out, and that didn't age well.
Sometimes it just happens. I have Geno the highest for this question in my rankings for this week. So would I drop Dak to get Geno is the question. What's Dak's next 3 games? That's the question when you're dropping someone, because someone will probably pick Dak up. The Niners, the Falcons away, and the Eagles at home.
Yeah, I have Knicks at 15, Geno at 17, Dak at 18. So really just literally pick your guy. If you had to like drop one for the other, I wouldn't really like, I don't mind. I know Dak's the Cowboys rest of the schedule is pretty juicy.
Yeah.
So I personally think I'm staying with Dak.
I mean, Bo Nix gets Carolina this week, but then he gets Baltimore and Kansas City the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's a no for me.
Yeah.
Geno gets Buffalo and the Rams and then goes on bye. You might have to suck it up with Dak this week.
Dak's buy is done. You don't have to worry about picking anybody else up.
Yeah,
then,
that's true.
Then he's your QB2 for, when Jaden Daniels is out. So, if you've been holding 2 QBs this whole time, you might as well use the QB you were holding, because if not, you should have been holding someone else and you would have had Geno or Bo Nix available to you when Daniels went out. So,
Agreed.
Yeah, stick with the guy you had.
Start 2, BTJ, Debo, Dell, Devonta, and Joku.
Ooh. Well, BTJ for sure, and Devonta Smith. I don't think I can get past any of that.
That's my answer
pretty
as
easy
well
for me. Yeah. Real quick before you get to the next one, Eric says, "Much appreciated, guys. Just hit that subscribe button. Let's go, baby. Appreciate that. I don't know whose channel you're watching on.
I was going to say, let me go refresh my page.
Hopefully
not my page. Not my page. Hold on,
Eric,
let me get this in the comments, Eric. Come on, brother.
Throw our boy a sub here over at the Extra Point, putting in that work for you, man. One of our affiliate channels. He's here with me on Fridays doing these start sit breakdowns for you. But he comes out with his Dynasty content, DFS, prop bets, things like that on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So make sure you throw our boy here, Phil, a subscribe as well, too, depending on which channel you guys are watching on, or if you're on Twitter, come on to YouTube. Hit that subscribe button for us. All right. Where's the next question you got?
Sebastian. For my trade question, I don't really use Tank Dell. I start Kyron, Dobbins, and B-Rob, and flex. Dell collects dust on my bench, and yes, this is a 12-team league. So he's asking who to trade Tank Dell for, I'm guessing. What does Tank get you? Because right now, Tank's value is depressed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bad time kind of to sell him unless you're kind of packaging with someone else.
That's what I was thinking.
But you need him to have a good game this game, and then you can move off of him. You want to maybe, you're going to get your peak value if he has a good game this week, and there's still one more week before Collins comes back. I think that's when he may be at his peak value. If you're looking to, move off him, the problem is what do you get to maybe, improve your lineup? So, I think that, has to matter as well too. But let's just say, who would you be looking for if you were trading away Tank Dell? What kind of value are looking back? Maybe not a specific player, but tell me a mid or late or rank this type, wide receiver, running back, or combo pack. I mean, I don't think Dell's getting you a 2-for-1 at this point. So if anything,
no, it's a one. It's a 1-for-1. I think you're looking at. a low running back 2, because I just don't see the value in trading a wide receiver for a wide receiver without a 2-for-1. You're not upgrading. You know what I mean? You're just getting basically like for like. So it's would I rather have
you're trading within the same tier, basically?
Would I rather have Pickens or Dell rest of season? It's that kind of a question. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I do think Tank's a hold right now. I don't want to sell him now. The value is awful. I wouldn't trade for him right now. I have him and I can't even. He's not even on the trade block. I actually have to go look and see who I'm starting. Oh, I have. Well, I just traded Puka in that league.
So would you trade would you like to get Chase Brown back for Dell?
That's funny you said that, because that's the name I was thinking. I don't know if you can get that though. I'd rather have Chase Brown.
Might be too much, yeah.
Yeah. I think you need to look a little bit lower than Chase Brown.
Kind of like Scott saying, he says, Zach Moss is borderline droppable, seems like Chase Brown, so maybe you can't get that done.
Sadly, I think you're looking at Jalen Warren.
I mean, that kind of a get Tank, someone like me, I would probably give you Tank for Dell. Just
Bigsby.
Yeah.
Tank for Tank.
Tank for Tank. There you go.
Tank for Tank.
Little Tank switch. Yeah. Would you take Najee for Tank?
That was the other name. That was the other name I was thinking. I was could you actually? As soon as I said Warren, I was could you get Najee?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's that range though.
Yeah, it's hard.
You're gonna live in that range because anything else is a little too good. You're not gonna get Pollard, Cook, B-Rob, D-Mont, those guys.
You need him to. You need Tank to have a week.
Yeah, he needs to go off. And then it's well, then shit, do you even trade him if he's capable of that? Then you get in those kind of situations.
I mean, Nico's coming back. Steph Diggs is there. Mixon's been the guy. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of mouths to feed. Tight end premium with the Saints banged up. Would you consider Taysom Hill over Kincaid this week? I mean, I'll just repeat what I said earlier. If you're looking for extreme ceiling, Taysom Hill gives you the highest ceiling of any tight end realistically on the slate. But the floor is 2 points.
Yeah.
Kincaid's floor is probably 4 or 5 points. Let me just check real quick. I mean, I personally wouldn't, because I just don't like the volatility. Kincaid's floor is about 5 points.
Yeah, and I'm in my tight end premium league here. So 2 points week 1. Let's take out his worst and his best game, right? So worst is 2, best has been 14-6, but he has another 14-point game.
Was that against Jacksonville?
9. Jacksonville was 14, yep. And then
because I am looking at a full PPR league where he was 13-10 against Jack. So it's only a point difference in tight end premium.
Yeah, because he only had 3 catches. Yeah, point and a half.
Yeah. I would still play Kincaid.
There you go. What else we got? I think we're here. Start 1, Deller Flowers, and would you start Henry or Otten over Laporta? So Deller Flowers first.
I mean, if Zay Flowers is healthy and off the injury report, I'd start Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I think I would too. If he's like questionable or game time decision, and if they're talking about limiting snaps, do you just go with Tank, be on the safe side? What time are those games? Are we going to even find out in time?
Those games are Baltimore is 1 p.m. Eastern, so 10 a.m. for us. Who else am I looking at?
Houston's a 10 a.m. game.
They're at the same time.
Okay, so you'll know. You'll at least know.
You know what you should do, Smitty? You should tune in at 8 a.m. Pacific time for Classic Mike as he takes you through the actives, inactives, and gets you ready for Sunday football.
And you never know. I might pop on there too. Maybe Phil, maybe one of us. We might see
I will not be there.
Yeah, no, I know. I was trying to tease them, man. They want to see
the Munchkin. The Munchkin's home this weekend, bro.
We're going to get. No, we should have her have a segment. Have her have a segment. Just have her have Kaya's picks. I don't know
her segment. No, please don't name my child on there.
Yeah. I apologize.
She'd be in there going, Daddy.
Well, I'll
Daddy,
go.
I want to press Daddy, I want to press all these buttons on the. What does this button do? Don't touch that one.
Have her make the picks. You want the Falcons or the baby?
She said to me last week, she said, because she saw me in my 49ers jersey when I called her, I FaceTimed her from getting ready to go in the game. And she said to me, Daddy, are you wearing an Arsenal jersey? I said, no, baby, not today. Daddy's going to go wear his Niners jersey and go to the game with Uncle Mike.
You got it on the right football. You got her on the right football. That's good
stuff.
She knows what's up. Soccer coach. There you go.
There we go.
All right. There it is. All right. So Nino saying, how do you feel about Love at 2.5 passing touchdowns now this week? I think I might even be able to do that myself versus the Jacksonville defense. So I'll leave this up to our prop bet guy over on or higher or lower 2.5.
Fire it up.
There it is.
He has gotten there 3 of the last 4 weeks. Jacksonville is 32nd against the pass. I don't know where. I'm curious, Nino, where you got that line, because I got him at 1.5 on Underdog. So jump over to Underdog, jump over to Sleeper. Actually has some interesting lines as well. Like they had 3.5 catches for Rashad White. They took Underdog took all the Rashad White lines down. Then they reposted this morning, I checked, and it was still 3.5 catches. And BetMGM. Okay, I don't play there because I'm in California, so I can't. There's only certain places I can play. But on Sleeper, they had 2.5 catches for Rashad White.
Wow.
And I was like, that's
stupid. Easy over.
It should be on paper an easy over. Yeah, it should be. So, but yeah, I think Jordan Love can give you 3 touchdown passes. And even if Jacksonville can't keep up, Packers aren't taking the foot off the gas, man. They're rolling.
There you go. Let's see. So Look Up says, am I crazy for wanting to trade Mooney for Worthy? I think you're a little crazy for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would rather have Mooney.
Yeah, I'd stick with Mooney. Smitty's asking, start the Niners defense or the Chargers defense? That's what he meant.
Who the Chargers are playing somebody's stinky game. Yeah, it's a really bad game environment in it.
That's interesting. I'd go Chargers D.
Chargers, yeah.
Didn't he give us he gave us a different defense last time? Maybe that's why he said what I meant. Did he give us a different defense, I think? Anyway, that's that answer. Let's see. What do y'all think about Adam Thielen about to get traded to a better team?
Adam Thielen, maybe it's just a typo.
Maybe.
That's my guess. It's supposed to be Adam Thielen. It's my deductive powers of reasoning.
Well done. That would have took me a while. I'm not good at those games.
What do I think about Adam Thielen getting traded to a better team? I don't care about Adam Thielen.
I don't think
old,
he's no longer fantasy relevant at this point.
So
yeah.
Cut bait.
You got another one? All right, here we go. He says he could see Jack trading ETN and running with Bigsy. I don't think it's going to happen, man.
No, I agree. Swift or James Cook in Dynasty? Yeah, Roll's here. It has been a while. Yeah, Swift or James Cook in Dynasty? Easy one for me.
Cook for me.
Yep, easy one.
There you
James
go.
Cook. Easy one.
What else we got? Hey, look at that. Refresh your page now, Phil.
All right,
refresh the page
Here we
now.
go. Refresh.
Sure
Let's go. Appreciate you.
Aren't you getting close to 100 now? I think you're close to 100, or you already went over.
I'm well over.
It's
Kendall's
close to 100.
Oh, Tycoon's close to a bill.
He's at like 97.
Let's get that.
Good stuff. Mooney, Waddle, or Pickens. He also has MHJ, but he's so trash and cost him games. So if you had to pick between the three, Mooney, Waddle, or Pickens, put them in order for me.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
That takes a second.
My gut wants to tell me Mooney is the safer play. Pickens is like a little upside with a fairly safe floor. Waddle, I still kind of want to see it, but we know what he's capable of. I kind of want to see it for a game back. I feel like Mooney and Pickens, I feel okay with.
The only reason I have Pickens is simply because he is the one there, and there ain't anyone else in town. You still have Drake London, you still have Kyle Pitts, you still have Bijan. Pickens, Mooney, Waddle.
Actually, that's
Waddle's got an injury.
Pickens. I forgot they're playing the Giants. I actually have Pickens at 14. Yeah.
Pickens, Mooney, Waddle, and just if Waddle's off the injury report, if Tua's healthy, I mean, God, it's just so many ifs in one sentence.
Right.
I need to see it for a week, because here's the truth, guys. Here's the absolute truth. Tua could play one snap.
I mean, anyone could play one snap.
Right, but
yeah.
Okay, but Tua could get pushed over and not even get a flag, and he could hit his head, and that's the end of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, anyone could play one snap, but like most guys are getting tackled and they're getting back up.
Right.
Tua could just get tackled legally.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You don't even want
and this fool,
really,
I'm sorry, but this fool said he's not going to wear no guard. He's not going to wear a guardian cap.
He really should, man. At least for the
your brain's going to be scrambled fucking eggs, son. Like
he said, he don't care. He said he'll die for the game. I understand it, but you know,
okay. What I mean? Who's going to raise your kids?
That's what I mean. You know, and you got parents, man. Your parents want you to be safe, bro.
Dude,
like, don't do that to your family.
It's fucking football, son. Like, get over it.
So, just real quick too, Pickens at 14. But I have Harrison at 22, Waddle at 24, Mooney at 25. So that is literally a clump right there.
All right. I got 4 minutes at 10:30. Your boy's out. It's bedtime.
All good. I'll finish up. Go ahead. I got to get out of here too. I got to walk to the
We got, you got to be up earlier than I do, man. We got early.
Yeah.
I lost Brandon and I lost Godwin. My team is Henry, Barkley, Smith, Hunt, AR, and Dak. I have Amari Cooper to take Godwin's spot and Jerry Jeudy to take Ayuk's spot. What do y'all think? I think it's fine. I would Henry, Barkley, Devonta Smith, Kareem Hunt. Yeah, you're starting all those. You're starting all those guys.
Better wide receiver though.
That's what I was just thinking. I would try to upgrade because Jerry Jeudy
come back. You never know. Pacheco may come back, and maybe it's a split. I'm just saying, like, if you needed to have any type of justification to it. Like there's maybe he comes back, and when he does, it's most likely going to be probably week 14. I think would be like the earliest he could be back. And so I don't know if they try to work him in to get him ready for playoffs in week 15, 16, 17, which is our fantasy playoffs. So you just don't know. You don't want that split after relying on him. But again, you're relying on Henry and Barkley. So, you know.
Yeah, I would try to upgrade Jerry Jeudy for obvious reasons. So if they could cash in, Kareem Hunt was a dynasty show, but Kareem Hunt was my trade away candidate because he has absolutely smashed it the last 2 weeks, and I think he's going to have another monster day again this Sunday. And even if he doesn't have a monster day, I do think he scores another touchdown this week.
Yeah, that's why I like Pacheco so much, man.
No, I'm with you,
It
but I'm
hurts
saying
to-
my
it hurts
point.
to see me Hunt do this because I know Pacheco would have been doing the same thing.
Pacheco would have killed it. But my point being is that if you can get max value and sell, I don't remember whose question it was, but we just had that other question where it was like, oh, it's Tank Dell's. Like you're selling him at his floor. You are selling Hunt at his absolute ceiling. So I would upgrade there.
For sure. What do y'all think about Adam Thielen about to get? Oh, that's what it was. Okay, so it was Adam Thielen. Good call. Good call.
Okay.
Mitch is him. Watch him run routes. Kyler just not looking for him for some reason because it's not his job to get him the ball. Apparently, remember that's what he said.
You know what? When does the next Call of Duty drop? Maybe the two of them should just go sit in a
Actually,
room
it
for a couple
dropped
hours and play
tonight.
COD. See, maybe they're gonna play a little COD
yeah.
for a little while. You know, they're gonna hang out and bond over COD. Let's go.
John says, "What up, fellas? JSN, Dobbs, Stevenson, Pickens, or McMillan? I assume pick one."
JSN. Pickens. Sorry, pick one. Pickens. My brain went to two. It was JSN and Pickens. Pickens.
Pickens higher, and then
I'm picking
JSN,
Pickens. Say
I
that 5 times fast.
forgot to answer the tight end part of his question. Oh, Smitty, did we?
What was the tight end part of the
Let's
question?
go back. He said the
What?
Niners.
No, he asked about the defenses.
Oh no, it was Otten over Henry or Otten
sorry.
over Laporta. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we got you, Smitty. We got you.
I don't think so.
I think I have Otten over all these guys.
Get the fuck out.
I think I have it. I think we're high on Otten this week, man.
I am pretty high on Otten this week. Yeah, I don't think you're
I have
crazy to do it.
Otten 10, Laporta 11, and Henry 14.
I'm good with it. There's no one there to catch the ball. Someone has to catch the ball.
Someone has to.
Someone's got to catch the ball.
All right. Sorry about that, Smitty. We got you, though. You know we got you. Who else we got? Komet, Hunter Henry, or who is that? Jalen's just who's Jay Smith?
Jay Smith.
Is there like some Smith? That we're not Smith? Are we just completely forgetting a Smith?
No.
It's a. I don't know who Jay Smith is. Komet or Hunter Henry, at least.
Is it a tight? Maybe it's a tight end that we don't know about. Jonnu Smith. It's Jonnu Smith.
Oh, Jonnu Smith. Yeah, definitely.
Everyone always just calls him Jonnu. No one ever. I forgot his last name was.
I forgot his last name too. Yeah,
Jonnu.
that's funny. Good
and
call.
I happen to have my tight end rankings up, so I was like, "There it is, right in front of my face."
Oh, perfect. Okay. Go ahead. I just have committed. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll do real quick. Commit Henry and Smith for me. That's my order.
Yeah, I think
Commit
that's
Henry
my order.
back to back.
That's my
13, 14.
Chicago's just that's my order.
Yeah. All right, good stuff.
Here we go.
Go ahead. We're almost
got
done.
offered Gibbs, Achane, Bowers for McBride, Amari. Oh god, this is my brain. Amari Cooper, Bijan. My wide receivers are Chase, Lamb, London, Puka, Nico. My running backs B-Rob and Bijan. All right, so let's run it back. Got offered Gibbs, Achane, and Bowers coming in, losing McBride, Cooper, and Bijan. So you're basically, I would say, upgrading your tight end from McBride to Bowers. You are replacing Bijan with Gibbs and Achane, and you're sacrificing Cooper. But you have CD, and you have Jamar Chase, and you have Drake London, and you have Puka, and technically Nico. I'm good with this.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all.
You're getting you're basically getting the same lineup you have.
Yeah, you're just
getting, and you're upgrading Bijan. Well, you're not upgrading Bijan.
You're turning Cooper into HM. You're getting a running back that I think's more valuable in his running back tier than the wide receiver.
I have Gibbs higher than Bijan right now in my rankings anyway. So
yeah, for sure. How about Dynasty? It's an interesting Dynasty question. What? I thought it was Dynasty.
This is an easy Dynasty. If you can get Amari Cooper off your roster in Dynasty,
I thought that was like a big smash. Yeah, that's what I meant.
No, this is a smash. I assumed it was redraft just because of the season we're having. But
I just wanted to put that spin on it because it is kind of interesting if it was Dynasty. So
well, if this is Dynasty,
you can see something like that kind of happening. But
smash and run the other direction and say thanks very much for the free player, basically.
For sure. Scott says he picked up Dearness Johnson in his DPPR league. He had regrets letting Bigsby go and not being able to get him back. That sucks. Let's see.
It's a tough one.
Oh, no, that's not a question. He was just talking to him in the chat. I think this is a question here. Antonio Lopez. I think that's a new name, man. Hopefully hit that like and subscribe button for us, man. Help us grow. It is a full PPR question. It looks like he says, what do y'all think about trading Jamar and Dell for Neighbors and Debo? Again, PPR's other wide receivers are Ridley, Judy, and Odunze. I'm not doing that at all.
No, Jamar Chase is the most valuable asset in that trade. Please don't make that trade.
I mean, trade Ridley, Judy, and Odunze for Neighbors.
Yeah, I would do that. I don't think you can
or
get that
all
done.
three for those two, but yeah, I mean,
I don't think you can get that done, but yeah.
Yeah, offer all those three for Neighbors. That would be my counter. But yeah, I'm holding still with Jamar. Good stuff.
Calvin Ridley has the number one easiest rest of season versus past defenses as of right now. Do you guys think he'll be a real valuable wide receiver in fantasy?
Who's the quarterback?
Nope. William Mayonnaise Levis.
This week it's Mason the Rudolph
That's
reindeer.
correct. The red-nosed reindeer.
Oh,
Nope.
Let's see.
if you want
Somebody
some
saying
social
thanks, guys. Johnny. Oh yeah, see there you guys go. You guys have
That's it.
Johnny. You guys
That's
are
it.
on it.
That's
Are we
all she
there?
wrote.
Are we done? Oh, we
The
got
last one
more.
that I'm doing. D. Lenny.
Hey,
This is
okay,
it.
there you go. D. Lenny, you got the last one. Hopefully hit that subscribe button for us for taking your question here. But go ahead, Phil.
For real. Start one in flex. Half PPR, 12 team. Trey Tucker, Christian Watson, Cedric Tillman, Raymond Davis. Well,
Hey, you know my answer already.
I know your answer. It's not my answer, but I know your answer. Your answer is Christian Watson because
Yes, sir.
you just have Christian Watson fever.
I think he has a big week this week. He has to.
I think that my answer is Christian Watson as well because I do believe James Cook is going to play. If James Cook wasn't going to play, my answer would be Ray Davis.
I think I'm there with you too. If that
But I think Cook looks like he is. Let me just double check. But it looks like Cook is going to play. And I can't tell if he practiced or not.
Let's go,
but yeah.
Santos. Appreciate the subscribe, my guy. Make sure you subscribe to my boy Phil's channel here too. The links are in the description and up in the chat as well too. So make sure. Oh, and he popped it in right now. So make sure you guys, and that's his logo, so you know it's the right one. Go through my boy, subscribe as well too, and of course the main show here on Get Right Fantasy Network. I hate saying the main show. I know you mentioned it kind of like that, but we're all the same show, man.
I know, but
I know what you mean, but yeah. I hate saying it. So Eric says great times, guys. Looking forward to coming back. Hey, Classic Mike will be here with you here on Sunday. For those of you guys who are new to us here, this is our lineup. Let me get these banners and whatnot off of here so you can check that all out. But here's our lineups, man. Make sure you guys check us out. We basically have live shows for you every day except for Saturday right now, but we do have other content dropping from our guys Kindle over at the Fantasy Football Tavern, as well as the Sweet Life with Jack and Cody pod. And then we have even a potential betting show coming on Saturday as well too. So we have some things in the work for you guys. So make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe buttons for us, turning on those notifications. Other than that, man, anything else, any lasting things you want? I know you're hard out 6 minutes ago, but where you at? Any words of wise, or if not, tell the people where they can find you and what you got going on your channel.
Yeah, appreciate it. Jump on over to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. It is youtube.com/the Extra Point FFB. If podcast is more your thing, you can always go and check out the Extra Point on Spotify and Patreon. Wednesdays, we will do my main show. We'll be going through all things Dynasty. We will be making sure that you are getting yourself right for your Dynasty season, whether you are a playoff contender or looking to rebuild. And then, of course, on Thursdays, we go through the betting show. And then I'll be here every single Friday. So, yeah, Kendall and Tycoon at the Fantasy Boardroom and myself are putting the brains together about how we can maybe take my Thursday show and move it to a Saturday and really dive deep on all things betting. But jump over, hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube, and make sure that you are tuning in every Wednesday and Thursday for the Extra Point.
For sure. And Solo Cup said we missed his actual question. He wasn't just talking. He said he's thinking if she'd pick up Botton or don't worry about a backup tight end. Is having a backup tight end valuable if you have Bowers? My answer is no. Yeah.
No, it's a roster clog.
Tight end guy, yeah.
Go get a wide receiver. Go get a running back if you can go grab somebody. That's what I would do. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Don't turn that spot. So there you go.
Yeah.
Subscribe to his too. Let's go, baby. Refresh that page, Phil. That's how we do it.
Appreciate y'all.
There we go. We got D Lenny saying thanks as well too. Dalvin Cook looking to start. I kind of saw people picking up Dalvin Cook. So is this a real thing going on over there in Dallas?
I don't. Well, it's Dallas. Who knows?
Yeah, at this point, I don't know, man. It could be.
At this point, I don't know. I put this way: I'm not rushing to the waiver wire. Again, it's a name, guys. It's a name from the. I mean, like, what if Todd Gurley just suddenly didn't have arthritic knees and showed back up? Would you just rush to the waiver wire to get Todd Gurley? Like,
right?
No.
But I think people maybe saw Kareem Hunt doing what he's doing. Maybe they think they can get some of that lightning in a bottle.
We got played football last year. Dalvin Cook did not.
True. Kind of with the Jets, but yeah, not really. So W Stream, have a great weekend, fellas. So appreciate you guys. Solo Cup, trying to squeeze one more in here, man. Love or Kyler. It's going to be Love. He's my keeper 4 this week.
Easy.
So with that said, man, we're going to call it a show here. Really appreciate you guys. Again, we'll be back here on Sunday. So bring any other questions that you have there to get Classic Mike's take. Maybe I'll pop on. Maybe some of the other Get Right folks will pop on. So make sure you do that. Otherwise, Frank and I will be back here Monday to do the overreaction and give you our top waiver wire ads. So again, good luck to you guys here in week 8. For all of us here at Get Right Fantasy, man, for Tycoon, for Dustin, for Classic, for Kendall, my boy Phil here, for my boy Frank. We'll see you guys all later, man. Have a wonderful night. Be safe, and good luck on Sunday, unless you're playing me. Peace out.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided.